There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Yay!
All right, you know what's offending me? The fact we
What's
haven't
it?
started talking about this.
Ooh, you know what? I have the perfect opening piece of trivia for this movie once my stupid
Well, I mean,
arm
we've already
stops.
started, so have at it, Triv. What's this perfect trivia you have?
This episode revisits themes used in The Walking Distance and The Trouble with Templeton, namely a person's propensity to romanticize and try and relive a past that may not have been at all good as they would like to remember. And also the fact that nostalgia is not always something that works well in the Twilight Zone.
See,
I would absolutely agree with that 100%.
Young man.
Because, yeah. Or anything in the fourth. There's like been a ton of these in the fourth season, which is pretty crazy about remembering your past and
There's a ton of them in every season.
Yeah, but this season is notoriously. It almost feels
You're
like
just looking for reasons to hate the fourth season, you dork.
No.
just want to be right, Nick.
Hey, all I
But
know
the
is I've
fourth
been on
season so
every
far has
episode of
been
the
better.
fourth season.
All I'm going to say is that this belongs above 35 or 36 or 37.
No,
Yes,
no.
yes, yes.
Uh-oh.
With that said, this
Yep.
is not the
She
Fifth
is
Dimension of
appealing to
Twilight
my-
Zone podcast. This is Triv's weird world of Horace Ford.
You know what? I was gone last week and I'm going to come back with a bang, baby.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Damn right I did.
yeah.
I just said it.
Right. Anyways, this is the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. I am your host, Nick, and we're back to talk the 15th episode of season 4 of the Twilight Zone. This, of course, is Rod Serling's famous TV series that he clearly was burning out quickly because he's having other people write episodes more and more frequently at this point. But
What was
we're
the name of
here.
this episode?
The Incredible World of something Floyd.
Horace.
Horace.
Ford.
Horse Accord.
Horse and Ford.
Horse
Accord?
Yeah. Horse Accord.
And the Dial of Destiny.
Oh
The-
my
and
We don't talk about the
God.
Dial of Destiny on this
the
podcast.
search of the Mickey Mouse watch.
The search for more money.
Also true.
Anyways,
Actually, the guy that wrote this was the guy that wrote 12 Angry Men.
Mhm.
that's pretty depressing. This is actually this episode has a lot of like well-known people that have been in stuff like I don't know, Psycho and The Quick and the Dead and was it
Batman
was the
movies.
one? No, The Kill a Mockingbird, and of course Psycho and other
Pat
things.
Hingle was the Commissioner Gordon in like all of the 90s Batman movies.
The Burton Batman. movie.
I'm aware. I was making a joke.
Yeah.
He was on the waterfront and the
Nice.
Untouchables, Mission Impossible.
The question
Magnum
is,
PI.
was he as annoying in
Starwood
those as he
Huddle.
was in this?
I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if it's possible to find a more annoying character in the Twilight Zone at this point. I may
He
be
yells a
forgetting
lot.
things, but
I was gonna say there's quite a bit of angry men yelling. You know,
Yes. That makes
it's
actually
very
a lot of
on
sense.
brand for original. He just likes his angry
this is
men,
a prequel to this is a prequel to 12 Angry Men. It's called One Angry Man.
Well, there's more than one man who's a little angry. In this
One
episode,
angry
I
man
would
and an
argue.
overbearing mother.
Why do you hate me? Why do you feel that way? Why?
Whoever's doing Twilight Zone now, we need to cast Nick as Horace's mother.
Tell me why. What did I do? God.
Okay, but like
Ugh.
compare this mother to the mother from Miniature.
Oh yeah.
Not even the mother
Be
from
like-
Miniature. The mother in God, what episode was it? There was an
Royal Mama
episode
young,
where
young Man's Fancy?
is that what it was?
No, she
Well, there
never
was
said
another-
anything,
She never
I
said
guess.
anything. She was like, he said
Well, there was-
volumes.
no,
spoke volumes with her face.
What was the episode?
She
There
did.
was another episode where the mother was so overbearing that oh God, it was like I think it was in the second and third season, but it was worse than this. This mother's not like she's overbearing, but it wasn't until like the last moment of her in the episode that I really just like okay, you've gone from suck to blow, or you've gone to plaid or some
You
shit.
know what,
I don't know what the hell is going on.
If you've ever seen the 60s Little Shop of Horrors, that she's
Yeah.
like this. She's like that. Just sitting
Because
there taking her castor oil and yeah.
because she's not the mother's not in the Frank Oz version, right?
No.
The 80s.
He's a orphan in the Frank Oz version.
Mushnik. Speaking of, Mushnik was in a Twilight Zone episode, actually.
I'm not surprised.
He was in was it last week or the week before or something like that? But
all I'm gonna say
anyways.
is Nick, stay on track. Why
We are on
off your
track. We're talking
targeting
about we're
computer?
actually talking about the episode
I'm
within a
kidding,
10-minute
sorry.
span. Jacob just has like a plethora.
He does.
He has a plethora of stuff.
Good
He's
use
got
of
What
a
is a
word.
plethora?
I'm proud of you.
Well, this episode, our
It took
episodes
him
run
50
longer than 50 minutes.
Well, I was gonna say it took Jacob 50 minutes to get in the Zoom call, but
Oh shit.
what do I know?
Shots fired. Shots fired across the bow.
Just
Took
saying.
me 32 minutes to get into the Zoom call. Thank you very much.
I mean, I felt like 50.
I know. Waiting for me can feel like an eternity when you're waiting for greatness.
Yeah,
You
but it's
just-
also like, I'm like, your guests can show up on time.
I liken it to
Ooh.
waiting for your favorite musician to come out at a concert that you've waited 2 years to go see.
Okay.
And when they-
Not all of us are Axl Rose. Thank you very much.
I was gonna say he's really good at making it last.
Yeah, I am.
Thank you for
Oh my
sharing that
God.
with us, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, man
Guys.
has 7 kiddos. I mean,
The episode's gone off the rails because Triv is back and
Really?
she's here.
What?
Yeah, she's
Huh?
here.
Is she?
She came
I
back
don't
from the
know.
I don't know. Yeah, she is she popping? She turned into a colonel yet?
No,
Is she salted and buttered?
no,
No.
no.
Triv was gone last week, so we assumed that she went back into the cornfield to
You
continue
know what I
her
blame?
transformation.
You know what
What?
I blame? I blame the stringy meat on the subway.
Ugh.
Get that stringy meat on the subway.
Welcome back, Triv.
What was her name?
Yay.
Anyways, welcome back, Triv. How you
Aw,
doing?
thanks. I have
Um,
not been sniffing cap gun fumes.
You haven't been revisiting your old street where 4 boys are stealing apples and reliving that night every like 4 times in a row. You haven't been doing that?
Nope, can't say that I have.
Oh, okay.
Have not
Um,
lost hand grips with another person and yelled bread and butter.
If I visited
that
my
what
old
they-
street from childhood, I think I get shot.
Is
Definitely
that
mugged.
what they were saying, by the way? Bread
Yeah.
and butter?
So it's
Oh,
a
okay,
it's
I
a thing
can-
where it's like a jinx thing. It's like something
Well, I
crosses
didn't know-
between you and yeah.
I didn't know that's what the term was, bread and butter. Anyways. Also, Jacob, Alex, both back. Alex, of course, our second week in a row. Welcome back.
Yay.
I can't keep introducing you as like, here, Alex is back. No, you're now part of you're now one of us, Google gobble,
Google
that
Gobble.
type of thing.
One of
One
us.
of us,
Google
one of
Gobble,
us.
Google Ball Gobble.
They haven't
I don't know
done
how you feel
annoying
about
me
that,
yet,
but
so I'm still
Yeah,
here
right.
until they say, "Oh, we're sick and tired of you." So
Nah.
I'm
we will never be sick and tired of you.
Once you get your
Jacob
permanent-
maybe, but
once you get your face on the thumbnail in a stupid expression like mine, where I'm like,
You know, you
It's
can
the best Nick can
change
do.
it. You can ask Nick to have a different.
I have asked
photo
Nick
for
to
you.
change it.
I what am I gonna change it to? I have nothing to change it to.
I don't know.
Well, being now that he's got the Obi-Wan Kenobi look, you could just change him to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, hello
Yeah,
there.
There's
May
no-
4th is
there-
coming up
Yeah.
as we're filming this.
That's true.
So, you
Yeah.
know.
That's true.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, I'll find something else. I just like that was the
Make it
best I
this
could come
big.
up with. Like, what's it?
I mean, I could talk about the fact that you got my bad side, but I'm not going to.
Your bad side. I just took it straight off your Twitter account or whatever.
Damn it.
Alex was the only one nice enough to actually send me a picture to put on the thumbnable. So
You never
Oh,
asked.
true.
I did ask.
We'll go get some
I asked all
glamour
both of you
shots.
mofos.
Send them to you.
I should send you the one of my updated profile picture, actually. I
Nice.
like
Oh,
forgot.
the one that's there is not up. I have the one that I put up there is the last one you sent to me. So
Yeah, I'll have to
Uh,
update that one. But it's funny because I totally forgot that, like, because it had been a while, since I had been on before, been coming on more. But when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, it's been that long ago. I was like, right.
I finally had to save a separate Photoshop page just for you, Alex, because now we have two different versions. One
Aw.
just well, like the problem is like every time I do the Photoshop, I'm like, all right, I have to resize and reconfigure everything, and it's just like I'm just gonna make one thumbnail Photoshop page just for Alex because she's gonna be on a whole bunch of times, and the rest I can just throw on eventually. So, Alex, you got your own Photoshop page now. Be happy.
Yay.
Yay.
Not
I
everybody
feel like
gets that.
I feel like that one like supporting character who like makes guest appearances on a sitcom for a few seasons. And they're like, well, we just love her on set, guys. Like we should have her on more.
Right? She's like,
It's like happy to be here.
was it Mad About You, the Hank Azaria character, Nick the dog walker? He shows up. He just shows up like every so often just to walk the dog, and like what other characters? Actually, Hank Azaria popped up in Friends too. I don't know why I keep thinking about Hank Azaria, but that's what when you
guess I'm
said
just
that's
a
what it
Hank
reminded me of.
Was he
Azaria
in the
now.
Treehouse of
Yeah.
Horror
Shout out.
as well?
Dude, he's
He
like
is.
one of the main principal cast of The Simpsons.
Isn't
What are
he
you talking about?
Krusty or something like that? Or no, he's
No, he got kicked out of
Apu?
doing Apu, yeah.
Apu.
Because
Apu.
two racist, white guy doing two racist. I don't know. Anyways,
Didn't something similar happen to like with the Cleveland show?
Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
they
they
had,
Let's say that.
yeah, Clue.
Yeah, they had something similar
And-
happen.
And
Yeah.
Carl and The Simpsons also got replaced by a person of color because apparently everything's I don't know what it is. Weird
Actors
things.
can't be things that they're not really in real life.
Exactly. Even though acting's a thing where you do things and play people, and I don't know.
I mean, I could see him wanting
Why
to get.
I didn't get that role to be unicorn number 37. I get
Right.
it now.
Yeah, you have to be an
It
actual
makes so much
unicorn,
sense.
Alex. Gosh.
Does it have to be
Do you guys
soil?
believe that I'm not actually a flat 2D model?
No, I
Shut
refuse
your
to believe
2D
that.
mouth.
I'd like to think someday you'll have one of those like there's like a really famous Looney Tunes cartoon where like at the end of it you see Bugs at the artist easel and he was
Oh
the
yeah.
one like that was the twist of like why Daffy went through all the
Yeah.
shit that he did
Oh,
through
yeah.
the short. I'd like to think you'll do that someday. Like, but just give no context. Just like you in real life for a second being like
I
and
have
be like,
started
here's
on
me in my
screen.
computer.
I have started on screen with myself at one point. I think it was like my 100th episode or something like that. But I had the avatar head, but my body.
Oh yeah. I remember
So-
you did that.
I've done that a couple of times, but it just honestly, I just kind of stopped doing it because it was too much work.
No.
Well, that's one of those jokes is in Monty
I
Python
mean,
and
I
the
can
Holy
play
Grail.
you.
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly. You did. You are
I
your
could play you.
understudy.
Because we're gonna have to have an audition
I could-
process then.
Yeah,
Right. I could play
tear
you.
off the Triv mask. Not like that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I was on last week,
Um,
I did this with my hips.
Oh,
And I had to be like, you can follow Trev on YouTube.
Triv, you should be proud. She did the piano in the house thing. So
Aw,
I
yay. Yay. Thank you guys for holding
too
up the
much of my
legacy.
chagrin. Exactly.
Yay.
Actually, that reminds me. I got to ask you, Triv. You weren't on last week, but what did you get a chance to watch of late? I think of Cliffordville.
I think that's a no.
No.
I guess I know.
I
So
don't know.
can't
I was
ask
kind
you
of
what you
put
thought
off
about
by
it.
the. I did. The week has just been nuts. Ask me again next week and I can tell you. But yeah, the whole bald cap thing kind of put me off. It's like really, really, really terrible, like old age makeup.
There's a lot of things wrong with that episode. The
Well, you
way-
guys put it in at 86. It's only like halfway down the damn list, so it couldn't have been that bad.
I mean, isn't it like 3/4 the way down the list now? Right at the
Is
moment.
it?
Like a
It's
third.
86.
86.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like a
I guess
I mean,
third.
we're only at
that's-
115
Two-thirds,
or
or
16.
two-thirds.
True. Yeah, that's fair.
Crazy times had by crazy people.
I thought of Cliffordville as I was late.
Mm-hmm.
That's my final thoughts on that episode.
Some
I mean,
deep
this
shit
is the
right there.
second week in a row a Batman character has been on the Twilight Zone.
Ooh, always a
The
good thing.
Batman character.
Yeah,
I'm Batman.
yeah.
Yeah, Pat Hingle was Commissioner Gordon in the ancient 1989 Batman movie.
Did you
Hey,
say the
Jacob, you shut your mouth.
1989
They
movie was
ancient.
Agent?
Well,
That's what
for
I
you.
said.
What the hell?
For you, it was ancient.
It's like when people say, "Oh, you know the 2000s? That was so long ago." I'm like, shut your mouth.
I mean, it kind
Shut
of
your
was. It was
mouth.
like 20 years
I'm
ago.
like, I'm
Trib, I
offended. I
refuse to
wasn't even
acknowledge that.
born yet.
There you go. See?
I was
Feels
an
so-
adult in the 2000s, all of them.
All of the 2000s,
All
you
of
were an
them.
adult. 2010s, not so much. 2000s, yeah, I was an adult.
Hey,
2010s,
I'm like fucking Benjamin Button.
go back.
I'm aging mentally backwards.
Hey, not the worst
Speaking
thing
of
in the world.
age,
Yeah, speaking of aging mentally
know.
backwards,
Oh
Horace
my
Ford,
God.
season 4, episode 15,
Great
the
segue.
incredible world of Horace Ford. Yeah, we got. That's the reason we have Alex on, because she keeps us in line. Because Triv and Jacob refuse to keep us in line.
I tried.
Not my job.
This is why Nick and I are usually on
Nick.
the top of the rectangle too.
I was hired for color commentary.
Nick, I only got to do two things to derail this thing. Don't mess with me. I mean, I could
One of
just
those.
He doesn't like
God
it.
damn it.
or say a piano.
In
In
the
the
house.
The house. That'll go on for like 10 minutes.
To be fair, if you weren't on, Jacob, the opening narration would be Mr. Horace Ford, who was of me talking to opening narration. Yeah, at least we
You
got
do the
somebody
computer
competent reading.
voice, like the Mac voice from back in like
Mr. Horace
Apple II
Ford,
days.
who was a preoccupation with another
Mr.
time.
Horace Ford. Or the movie phone voice. Anybody remember movie
Right.
phone? I'm sure Alex, you
Oh,
don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Probably not.
Thank you
What-
for calling
was
movie
it-
phone.
Actually, apparently the movie phone guy was a famous person or something like that, or somebody they either passed away or they were famous, something like that. I can't remember, but anyways, that's not this episode. This episode is once again the Incredible World of Horace Ford, which is a long ass title. It's directed by Abner
Long-ass
Biberman.
episode.
Yeah, written by Reginald Rose. Production code 4854, air date April 18th, 1963. Stars Pat Hingle, Nan Martin, Ruth White, Phillip Pine, and Vaughn Taylor, as well as Jerry Davis. Okay, so we got another nostalgia trip of an episode. This is like the 4th episode this season to do that. And yeah, I don't know about this one, guys. I don't know about this one. It has moments, but it's called it should be called The Incredible World of Annoying Angry Man, who went on to become Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this episode. I don't know what to say. It's just like most of my notes are like, kid returns watch again. Guy visits Randolph Street again. Oh, look, they're playing in the street where they're dumping sanitation water on the ground again.
That's how they cleaned the streets back in the day. That provided many people with a much needed bath.
Yeah. Wife feels sorry for him again. It's like the same thing over and over and over. It's like repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. I don't know. You guys, what do you guys think? I know I'm sure, Jacob, I'm sure you didn't hate this episode, or did you? I mean, I don't know. You guys help me out here. Because I don't this episode's just bland. It's not very good. It really isn't. It's not terrible, but it's not. It's just a lot of the same stuff repeated. Robot toys and I don't know.
I mean, it's
You know
certainly.
what this episode is?
Oh, go ahead.
It's
Yeah.
bread with butter, but not just butter. It's unsalted butter. And it's not
Unsalted
enough
cashew
butter.
nuts.
It's not enough butter to spread over that bland white toast.
Okay, is this
At least it's
so? Is this,
toasted.
Well, it's
I
not
don't know
toasted.
that.
That's a
Oh.
nah. It ain't toasted either.
Oof.
so
It's
so
probably
this
been
is
expired too.
Wonder bread.
Yeah, Wonder Bread.
The
Bunny
This is
ran
not
on top of
butter.
white
the
bread.
3-day-old Wonder Bread.
Yeah.
You know what this episode is, and Alex, you may not get this reference. This is the balled up hamburger bread sandwich from the Eddie Murphy sketch. You remember that joke when he's explaining the hamburger he went to McDonald's?
No.
Nobody
I
remembers
only
this?
know his like Mr. Rogers take on like those SNL sketches.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
Which honestly,
A
I think is
wonderful day.
actually it kind of gives. I mean, we'll talk
I'm
about
Gumby,
it. But, like,
damn it.
but I feel like this character can actually like almost like fit into that flashback world and be like, "Hey, kids,
Oh yeah.
it sucks here.
He's doing the G.I. Joe
The more
sketches.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm a computer. Hey kid,
Knowing is half the battle.
pork chop
Yeah,
sandwich.
so this is as Alex alluded to, the unsalted butter on bread instead of the country crock on bread episode. It's just bland and boring. I don't know. Driv, Jacob.
I read
Yeah,
one
but country
review.
crock is like fake, so it's not good for you.
Jacob. It
Synthetic.
doesn't matter.
So good.
It's synthetic. I love country crock. I don't care. I'm just kidding.
Dude, I have a phobia of country crock. My ex's mom
Well,
would sit
somebody who's
there and
from
eat
the-
it out of the tub,
Ugh.
like
Well, no wonder why you would
frosting.
have a phobia.
Oh, the tub.
That's disgusting.
I had a totally different mental image for a second there. I get what you're saying now. Okay. I got like a
What were
gummo.
you?
I was getting gummo vibes.
No,
Country crock in a tub.
no,
Taking a
no,
bath.
no, no.
Give me my
nothing like that.
butter.
No,
Boy.
Wait,
My
is that
butter.
happens in Gummo?
Gummo? No, he's like taking a bath in the end. There's like a piece of fucking bacon slapped on the wall and he's eating a Snickers or some shit like that. I can't remember. I hate that fucking movie.
Yeah,
I used to
I've
live
watched that once
near
a long
where it
time
was,
ago.
part of it was filmed. I hate that movie and I hate Harmony Korine.
Man, I didn't not expect us to go to Harmony Korine.
Harmony Korine is a pretentious
you know what?
douche.
We're tangenting as much as Horace does.
I mean, it's true. I like Spring Breakers though. I think that's like is only really good
Spring
film.
Breakers was okay. Spring Breakers was watchable. It was okay.
Is it more or less watchable than The Incredible World of Horace Ford?
Spring Breakers?
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably more watchable.
Okay, I'll give you
The
that.
James Franco's in it.
How about the bad
With his
pussy
crazy-
scale? Where does it fall on the bad pussy
Oh,
scale?
Bad Pussy's always more watchable than everything.
Oh, dude, no, it's not.
Huh?
No, it's not.
What are you talking about?
Anyways, The Incredible
Anyway.
World of Horace Ford is an episode that is on the
We're
Twilight
not
Zone.
we're not including any of that conversation.
No, we're not.
Okay.
Anyways, Jacob, Driv,
Yeah.
actually, Jacob, what is your
Yeah.
thoughts on this episode? Since you
Why
haven't
don't I get
spoken
to tell
about
my?
this
I
episode.
haven't
Triv was
spoken.
Because you-
ladies first.
All right, Triv,
Ladies first.
what is your thoughts on The Incredible World of Bat Pussy? No, what's your feelings on The Incredible World of Horace
Incredible
Ford?
penis stretcher of Bad Pussy.
Yeah.
Oh God. Fudge. Give me a
Yeah,
second.
man. I get you. I get it. I was thinking something similar.
Oh man. Okay. I read a review that said it was a filler episode. Like it was like there was a ton of filler in the episode if it had been 30 minutes or 25 minutes, and it was even more of a filler episode at 50. And I would 100% agree. This was maybe like a 10-minute tops thing. Like
Actually, Alex, was there anything? Because you said last week there wasn't anything in that book, the one by
Mark Scott.
what's his name? Yeah, was there anything in there about this episode at all? Because I don't know. I don't have no idea where my book's at. Like I can't find it anywhere.
Me neither.
Here, I can show my book.
yay.
Makeup guru thing.
Yeah.
I read, guys.
Big ass book.
Woo woo.
I glimpsed at it a little bit. Triv basically gave the trivia that I was going to offer, essentially. I guess like there wasn't like a so I guess there was a not so happy ending in the original draft of the script, I guess.
Which sounds
But- and then-
amazing, actually.
Yeah, but I think it mentions how Rose was like content with, just kind of that being the one thing that got changed. Because otherwise it pretty much was just, he kind of mentioned how it's like, it's basically just the same story except the ending's different. So he's like, all right, well, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Zakri really liked this episode either. Gave off that vibe, which is also fair.
Very.
But, we'll get into it,
The only other
Yeah.
pieces of trivia that I have on this was it was not an original screenplay for Twilight Zone. It was a remake of The Incredible World of Horace Ford, which was a TV version starring Art Carney and Jason Robards. And the blueprints of Harold's new robot were Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet. So there's another
Oh, that
Forbidden
was-
Planet reference.
Okay, that was Robbie.
Yeah, it looked like
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like Robbie. And also, Sam Raimi must be a huge fan of this episode because he named Pat Hingle's character in Quick and the Dead Horace, the
I was
bartender.
gonna say that there must have been some connection to that. But
I mean,
I
I
know
don't
the
know if that's true or
only-
not, but
The only other fictional character I know of that has like that that name is like Horse Collar. Like he was in like those very early like Mickey Mouse cartoons.
oh, nice.
Yeah. But it's like other than that, it's like I feel like Horace is one of those names that like I guess you're like somewhat familiar with it being like a little old timey, but you don't really hear about it outside of like just like fictional characters or
Yeah.
I guess someone from like just an earlier time period, I guess.
I mean, there's an
Yeah,
Egyptian
Horse, of
god
course.
called Horus, but that's not really the same thing.
anyways, Triff, what else?
I'm
you
gonna
have to
name my
say?
second son Horace.
You had 7 chances, Jacob. What's wrong?
I like even numbers.
Triff,
guess-
did you have anything
Yeah, the
else? Because
only
I
other-
know I cut you off. So
No, it's okay. The only other thing that
what
I
were you
had, and
saying? I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
he's a funny guy.
No.
And I understand that he wasn't, obviously he was eclectic to start with, but I don't know how his wife ended up with him. Like,
That's what I was
doesn't-
thinking.
I don't mean to be rude.
Fair
ahead.
question.
I thought it was a sister at first.
I
Because it
thought it
was
was
like,
the other guy's
"Mom,"
wife.
and she said mom.
I
and-
know the other
But-
two actually had good chemistry, and I was like, okay.
Well,
and then she was
but the
like,
way they-
I have to see my husband right now, and I was like, okay.
Well, the
Where's
way,
he at?
way it
We never
plays
met
out,
him.
like, right. Well, when she walks in, she's like, "I have this present for Horace." I'm like, "Oh," so she's like, "For your coworker." I'm like, "Oh, so she's this guy's wife," and I'm like, then she
Mhm.
kisses Horace in the mouth. I'm like, either she's really friendly or, and then you guys were talking about the sister round. I'm like, maybe maybe this is kissing. I didn't know what was going on, but eventually you find out it's his wife, and
Mhm.
he must have been like a much more sturdy individual. And then, was it the midlife crisis kicked in? And he decided I
Well,
want to
he's
be
38.
Yeah, 38 my ass.
I mean,
Hey, 40 years
so-
old is a midlife crisis moment. So you remember they were only living to like 45 years old at that point. So
Oh yeah.
Would that make their midlife crisis at like 20?
well, I mean, it was a different time, Jacob. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Hell, people can
No,
have a quarter life crisis at 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, look how
mine,
old
uh,
Jack
I
Albertson
had mine a
was.
couple years. I don't know. When did I have mine? It was like the end of 2022. So
That's fair.
I think
but
everybody
I
had a
turned
crisis.
25 in like a couple months. So I had it early.
Well, good for you.
You hope
Overachiever.
it was
Wow.
early.
All I know,
You don't know yet.
I'll keep you posted on that one.
my midlife crisis ended when I saw that Russell Crowe Unhinged movie. That's when I knew my midlife crisis was over with. 'Cause
Nice.
that movie came out. Yeah.
I don't think I've had-
Anyways, is the video games in the background your midlife crisis?
No. You shut your mouth, Nick.
Oh. My midlife crisis was starting a YouTube channel.
I think that was all our midlife crises.
Oh,
We gotta make a YouTube.
Did I already
we're
have
too-
one? Oh my gosh. Did I? It didn't feel like a crisis. Oh no.
I had my midlife crisis quite a bit early, but that's okay. So anyway, moving on.
Wow,
Are
this
there
is
any
not where I
midlife
expected this
crises
episode
on
to go.
Randolph Street, guys.
Oh, dude.
But Triv, do you have anything more you want to say on the episode? Like your thoughts?
You know what? The fact that they couldn't get the freaking robot eyes to blink really pisses me off, man. I've got stuff to say on that.
They
But I
couldn't get
won't
lights
say it
in the
right now.
eyes.
I
That's not
know.
fair.
They didn't even
I mean,
work
did you
until
ever play
eyes
with
went wide.
with soldiers as a kid? I mean, if their eyes lit up, it would have been so much cooler.
I mean, I played with Transformers, so they always lit up and made sounds.
Boo.
Mine didn't.
I
Mine
had the
GoBots.
whole-
We were poor.
And then
I had GoBots.
I had, not to toot my own horn or whatever, but I had the whole entire Constructicon set, and it was stolen from me. That thing's worth like
Nick.
$3,000.
Nick.
You
Yes,
see,
sir.
you got to reclaim your
I'm
childhood.
gonna say
back,
something
is
you're
what
gonna
I'm
laugh.
hearing.
But it's
What?
true. I
You
literally
stole
used
it?
to make
Were you the one that
toys-
stole my?
I literally used to make toys out of construction paper.
Hey, Jacob.
It's okay to laugh. I
No,
made the
I'm not
Spaceballs
laughing. Like
Winnebago
Jacob,
out of construction
first of all-
paper.
So he was
and
the
bat
toy
wing.
inventor, is what I'm hearing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a
Could-
toy maker from Doctor
Could you
Who.
make their eyes flash, Jake?
No, they were all white construction paper left over from my mom's work, and I taped together construction paper to make my toy. Not all of them, some of them. I'd have GI
aw.
Joes flying around in the Winnebago from Spaceballs, and the Batwing made out of
Nice.
construction paper, not construction paper. Like what's the paper that you put like
Oh, reams of paper.
projects on? No, like the big
Oh,
poster board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made them out of my toys some of my toys out of poster board.
You say I laugh, but
We were poor.
my Halloween costume.
Imagination.
I laugh. You should laugh.
Well, no, my Halloween costume one year is I cut out cardboard pieces of Mortal Kombat when it was my own Mortal Kombat character in a
Right
white
on.
T-shirt. Yeah, right.
That's
I
pretty
probably
sick.
said
I-
it before, but one year I was going to be Stripe from Gremlins, and I lost the mask, but I still had the
no.
bodysuit. So somehow I ended up with a Groucho Marx glasses and a mustache or whatever he had. So I was a gremlin body with a Groucho Marx.
Oh my
Peace.
God.
Oh,
Maybe I never
God.
had the mask. Maybe it was just like a secondhand gremlin bodysuit, and I wanted to be Stripe. So I was Stripo Marx. It was dark.
Ironically,
we were walking, so
True.
it didn't count.
Ironically, it's funny that we're talking about nostalgia, remembering things, because that's what this episode's about and all it's about. Jacob, what do you think of this
Yeah.
episode?
Well, it was episode 15 of season 4 of Twilight Zone. It was a
Okay.
15-minute episode.
Okay.
Pat Hingle was in it. I like Pat Hingle. I thought Nan Martin was really good. I really liked Nan Martin in this, not just because her name's Nan. She was the unbelievable wife of
Yeah.
this gentleman.
Unbelievably patient.
Yes. Patience of angels right there. Holy crap.
Okay, so yeah, this episode wasn't that good.
Oh my God,
Okay, is it-
Okay, but like, what did the opening narration say to like start off the bread with no butter?
Was that a segue? I think I'm supposed to be doing something, but like this way, I didn't like this episode. It was
Holy
Is
crap.
it better or
Really-
worse than
it was
I Dream
boring.
of Genie?
worse.
Ooh.
Wait, I Dream of Genie. That's
I would say that's worse,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Well, here's
Wow,
the
like,
thing.
I Dream of
I actually
Dream of
think this
Genie
is
was
better
kinda
than I Dream of Genie.
forgettable, but this
You're
okay.
crazy.
So I like.
It's not good. I put it like right above it. Like I wouldn't put it very far above it, but I'm pretty surprised.
Okay.
I like what the
Well,
episode had to
fair.
say. I don't like how it said it. And I don't like this was not a
been done
15-minute
better.
episode. It should have
True.
24 minutes. 24 minutes. This would have been it's fine episode. This would have been a mid-tier episode. At 50 minutes, I was looking at my watch a lot, and
was
it
too.
repeated the
Mhm.
same fucking scene over and over and over again. And by the time we got to the end, Pat
Wait.
Hingle's character, I know we were talking about the mother, and yeah, she had her moments too. She actually had a moment I liked though closer to the end, but Pat Hingle's
Why do you
character,
hate me?
I could not stand him. He was grating. He yelled everything at everyone. And it wasn't always like yelling. And I think it's because I've known people like that and they get on my nerves. He wasn't like yelling angrily all the time. He just spoke so fucking loud to everybody. And he's like that person who comes in the room and like dominates it just because they're so loud and they're talking and they're like real close to you and they're like, ah! And you're like, oh my God, shut the fuck up and get out of my face. So that's what he reminded me of. So his character was very annoying to me. The mother was annoying, though I did like her little monologue there when she got real for a minute and was like, what am I going to do? And I know like by today's standards, we're like, I don't know, get a fucking job. But back then, that's just,
God.
that's not how it was. I mean,
That's
back
true.
then, she probably never had a job. She had always had someone to take care of her, but she probably took care of the house and stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
not to say she didn't have a job. So that I don't feel like looking at it from a 1963 perspective, like she was coming across as entitled as she seemed in 2024. Like nowadays, if somebody was saying that, people would be like, are you kidding? But back then, I mean, it made sense. She stayed home. That's what she did. She was a homemaker. And
Yeah.
now what is she going to do? So she was really worried. I mean, how is what'd she say? I'm 61 years old. I'm not supposed to be worrying about this stuff anymore. So I kind of felt for her a little bit there.
You You know, that's the most unrealistic thing today is the fact that she's retired at 61.
Well,
Like
she's not
today, isn't it
retired.
like
I think she
75
just-
before you?
I don't think she was retired. I think she's just
Just a homemaker.
Yeah.
Not just a homemaker, but she had been a homemaker.
yeah, and you know that is. I mean, quite honestly, as a homemaker myself now, which is really weird. I hate saying that, but as more or less that now, I can say it is not an easy job if you do
Yeah.
it properly. If you
Right.
don't do it right, here it is easy. If you just sit the kids in front of the TV and just go fuck off all day, easy as pie.
You know what would have made this episode better is if Vaughn Taylor, who plays the boss,
different
when he
episode?
walked away. Well, that no, but when Vaughn Taylor who's the boss, walked away with the Incredible Hulk theme, it's like because the way he walks away so sad. Like the music in this episode is horrifying.
I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, the sad walking away theme. But instead, they
Yeah.
just like
Here's the
I
thing,
hate
though,
the score
too.
for this movie.
People like they're so like understanding, and there's that thing about like you give people chances and you try to work within those boundaries. Like he took a very what I would consider to be outside the box for that time approach to trying to help him.
Yeah,
But,
like his boss. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, his boss
Everybody
was
was
fine. It's just
so nice.
Yeah,
to
but
him. He was a prick.
Yeah.
yeah,
He just
his boss was fine. I'm just saying, like, it would have been
Oh, the
better if they
music,
had the
yeah.
Incredible Hulk theme. Yeah,
no
like it was
understood.
the music was just, but yeah, but actually, Alex is alluded to. Let's do the opening narration, which is like not as long as next week's episode. Apparently,
That's what she said.
Jesus Christ, Trev.
Okay.
See, I knew we missed you for a reason.
You could have a soundboard that says that's what she said and you could replace me.
Okay, so let's see here. Opening narration.
Totally prepared as per usual.
Mr. Horace Ford, who has a preoccupation with another time, a time of childhood, a time of growing up, a time of street games, stickball, and hide and go seek. He has a reluctance to check out a mirror and see the nature of his image, proof positive that the time he dwells in has already passed him by. But in a moment or two, he'll discover that mechanical toys and memories and daydreaming and wishful thinking and all manner of odd and special events can lead one into a special province, uncharted and unmapped, a country of both shadow and substance, known as the Twilight Zone.
Friv, they said the thing.
What?
They said the
Oh
thing.
my God, they said the thing.
He said the thing.
He's
of
still my
of
heart.
Shadow and substance.
Thing.
He
I
said
was
the
just
thing.
reading.
No, he said of
I
Shadow and
didn't really
substance.
retain any of that.
Ooh.
I spend that whole
Um,
time because I've not read through that at all, just trying to not fuck up.
You did good.
I think
Once again, that's why we have you on, Jacob, because I
mechanical,
fuck it up all the time.
whatever.
But yeah, it says exactly what you need to know about the setup for the story. Guy named Horace Ford, played by Pat Hingle, is a daydreamer. He's a man child. He is actually a man child, as it says. He's
Emotionally immature.
Yep.
exactly has a attractive wife, has a good
Right?
job, has
They
he
did
has
not
literally
mix.
everything that a guy in the 60s would want. Just a steady life. All he doesn't have is a couple kids at this
Making
point.
$145 a week.
Yeah,
I thought it was
exactly.
100. Yeah, it was like 140 or something.
It may have been.
Yeah.
You
100
know,
and something a week.
making a good living before inflation took over and ruined everything. And just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, the idea of going back to your nostalgia, going back to your childhood, and it's been done before. I think it was either last week. No, not last week. Anyways,
It was
one,
in
yeah, it was last
Cliffordville.
week. With with
Mhm.
the daughter or something like that. It's like us going back to our past. It's not necessarily always going to be the way you remember it, and probably
Oh,
for good
never is.
reason. You know, I would love to go back to the 90s, but would I like to? Because then you have to go back to no cell phone with GPS, and you have to go
I'm
back
cool with
to.
it. I'd do it in a fucking heartbeat.
But would you?
No
would
smartphone.
you
Have fun with
honestly?
that.
Yes. Yes.
But when you go back there, like if you had a weeping angel,
I don't want to go back to the 90s. Fuck that. The 90s sucked. I just want to get
Well, no,
away
I'm
from
just saying, like,
smartphones and social media and all that shit.
I mean, all you have to
Always
do is wait for an
connected.
EMP pulse, and we might have that.
Texting.
I mean, just wait for Fallout to happen, Jacob. Come on.
Payphones. Remember payphones?
Hey, phones.
Remember calling 1-800-COLLECT? Then your friend would answer, and you'd be like, you'd rattle off the name of the number of the payphone. 852.
Or you just
and then they call
Or
you
you
back.
just tell them where you're at on the payphone.
Yeah, and they call you back. That's
Yeah.
how we did it.
Or they just meet you there. I remember a time where you had to call and find out the movie times. You would have to sit there and wait for it to repeat over and
Movie
over.
phone. Yeah, the movie phone.
No,
guy.
not even movie
Thank you
phone.
for calling
Hello
movie
and
phone.
welcome to Booty Phone.
Yeah.
No,
Hello.
you call AMC or Regal and you'd have to wait for them to like they would have a repeating like a voicemail. It would tell you the call times and the numbers or look in the paper.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
looking at the paper.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
paper every Friday. And it had like the whole like weeks times and
Right.
good times.
But Alex, I gotta ask you this because you're definitely a little bit younger than us and we have different nostalgia. Like
Oh, brother.
I don't mean that. No, I don't mean this as an insult. Like I'm asking, like, do you look back on like this guy? Do you look back on nostalgia like we do? Like, do you want to go back to a certain time, or are you at a point where you feel like nostalgia has not hit you yet? Like nostalgia hits me and Jacob and Triv like fucking ton of bricks, but
Well, speak for
I'm curious.
yourself.
You wanted to go back like 5 years.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I'm not trying. This
when
comes
I
out
was-
really bad. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like asking.
No, I know that.
He's just like,
This is
you want
like-
to go back
there
5
are
years to when you were
times-
10?
Jesus Christ.
My god.
Anyways,
First off, fuck that. Second of all, to answer your question, no. I don't feel, I guess, very nostalgic. I think it's just because of like growing up, I knew that I had a hard time specifically with like being autistic, so like with like socializing and communicating and like figuring out my voice and where I wanted to belong, that like I feel like every successive year, like as I get older, I feel like I get to know myself better and I'm glad I'm in the place that I am, kind of thing. Like I'm kind of in love with
Yes.
like who I'm becoming more than like, and knowing that like, oh, like I'm proud I'm not where my younger self was. So in a way I've always kind of separated like my younger childhood self to like me as an adult, in a way where it's like I personally just don't, I don't know. I try not to necessarily look at like the past with rose tinted glasses, just because I can't help but like think of times that were both good and bad. So sadly I don't necessarily. Thanks, Jacob. So I don't know, at least for me personally, it's like I've kind of never really had that moment of like, oh, I'd love to go back in time. Like I think anytime we think of the past, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
That's
Like,
me,
I
man.
don't really, yeah.
My
but
childhood sucked. I don't want to go back to that.
Same.
I'll
yeah.
reminisce about some things that happened that did not conclude me that maybe I enjoyed that happened back then. I will absolutely look back at that stuff. But as far as like going back to that time, fuck
Yeah.
that. I do not. I like being an adult. It
'Cause I
sucks
f-
sometimes,
Well,
yeah.
but it didn't suck as much as being a kid.
Well,
That
Yeah.
sucked.
I was gonna say too, like I think it's one thing to like reminisce on certain pieces of media that like aren't always talked about, or like trends, or just certain things that like pop in your head, being like, oh my gosh, like I remember like watching or viewing this for the first time or something, like with, I don't know, could be just like a meme.
I don't know what you
or
mean.
or YouTube, or just like I guess something that you engage with in that sort of capacity of being like, oh yeah, like I remember having these toys as a kid. Like to that extent, it's like I'll feel like nostalgic in that kind of way. But
Yeah.
I think with how like nostalgia is always revisited too, with like things being re-released like in theaters, or just from in a consumer type way, they'll always try to like have sort of oh, like we know that like this was beloved and it still can be for new and old sort of audiences, or like a demographic. So I think
well,
with
that's
that too, it's like, I don't know, I just have never kind of had that perspective of, oh, I want to go back to where I grew up from my childhood. Like in a way I'm glad
Yeah.
that like I'm not in the home that I was in
Yeah.
growing
No,
up,
that's
just
fair.
Well,
because it's like
that's
I've grown a lot more. So
I guess that's a good point because my nostalgia runs like, oh, going to Disney World the first time, riding Tower of Terror, stuff like that, or seeing as bad as the Phantom Menace is, seeing waiting in line to see that stuff. That stuff, like going to Star Wars Celebration, that kind of stuff. But I'm with you guys. Like my childhood sucked. I got picked on all the time. I don't remember that shit. Like the ironic thing is like going to Horace Ford's story. How the hell? Okay, I know people have a tendency to use their brain to reconfigure bad things that happen to them, but I'm just different. I'm one of those people that I can actually remember a lot of the times I was picked on as a kid, which was quite a lot. And the fact that he doesn't remember this stuff is either he's very good at masking it or he is just so up his own ass with his
I think
He was
nostalgia.
hospitalized.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I think because I've got a friend that does a lot of trauma therapy and such, and I not to get too deep into it because
Mhm.
it's not an episode that really goes down that road, at least in a way that is significant. But I do think that because of the trauma that he went through, he probably shut it out just because it was such a
But
traumatic incident.
but Triv, like
He got his ass
when
kicked.
well,
How
yeah,
traumatic is that? Didn't
I,
everybody
I,
get
I
I
their
mean,
ass
like
if
kicked once?
depending
like for
upon
instance, I went through a
Or
lot
more?
of abuse when I was a kid,
No,
like
I
through
understand
my
that.
no, I'm just saying like, but I remember like I don't remember as rough as it was, but I still remember it. It's like
I do.
it's interesting. That's the only thing that's really interesting is like how he's able to not remember this one scene where he thinks the kids were good to him or nice to him. It's just like it feels so disingenuous, I guess is the easiest word to put it, which makes the episode a little problematic because, sometimes sometimes like actual physical, mental, sexual abuse or whatever, people have a tendency to, I mean, in movies, they fantasize that or romanticize that a little bit where like you look at something like the movie Hide and Seek, where Robert De Niro's character, the Dakota Fanning character, is thinking she's being haunted by this creature when it turns out she was sexually abused by Robert De Niro's character. And it's to me personally, stuff like that it just feels disingenuous because I don't think maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that's the way the brain works sometimes. Most times you're gonna remember this kind of stuff and you
I think it
It
depends
I
on
can.
what
mean,
it
am I
is.
wrong?
I know
Maybe some people
someone.
are different. I don't know.
I know someone intimately that blocked out a lot of stuff and like had a revelation a few years ago that it was a different kind of abuse. It wasn't necessarily sexual, but it was abuse and blocked out a lot of stuff and had a very clear vision of how life was. And then a few years ago, something happened that unlocked some stuff, I guess. And like the floodgates opened, and all of a sudden, like that person's whole perspective of their entire childhood shifted, and people's roles and who they were and what they actually did change. So that does happen. I don't think it happens to everybody. I think that's more of a
Right. No, I agree.
massive trauma. Like what this guy went through, he got his
Yeah,
ass kicked
like
by some kids in the neighborhood. Come on. But like
I'm not
someone who's gone
disagreeing
through
with that.
massive trauma, I think that yeah, they can absolutely mask it and change.
Well,
Now, I
and
mean, with this guy and Trib, I'm sorry, real quick.
no.
With
Go
what
ahead.
happened to him, he could, kind of remember it differently. But as far as to like totally block something out that never happened or totally change like an
Mhm.
entire life narrative, that is oddly enough something that can happen.
Understood. And I guess I just look at it as like, because he always, he talks about everything else, and I think that's probably like him trying to pile memory upon memory upon memory
Mhm.
upon this thing. And it could have just been an embarrassment thing too. Like, oh, I didn't do this
Sure.
thing, I'm gonna think about and remember all the rest of this. It's like when you get like a guy that was like a quarterback in high school, he peaked as a sophomore, junior, or whatever, and then after that, life is just mediocre.
Yeah,
I
he's the
mean, for this
32-year
guy,
old at the high school parties and stuff. Yeah.
exactly. But this guy feels like he might have like quote peaked when he was 10. At
Yeah.
least like the way that he remembered stuff. And maybe he was so, even though he's had a relatively good, straightforward life, he's still like that time and place was just like his best time. And that's where he goes. I don't know.
I just feel like this is one of those episodes where I know like a fair share of episodes we can look back at it like over 60 years later and sort of have an outlook of there being a non-existent conversation around like mental health and like having therapy and like certain resources available to talk about certain things. I feel like this is one of those episodes that I feel would be a part of that dialogue only because it seems like the way he like looked at his childhood and like at Randolph Street in such a way where he disregarded something that otherwise I feel like would be traumatic and would, at least to me, if something like that happened, would be like such like a like one of those like landmark moments in your life or like a tentpole moment where you would have that paradigm shift of, oh, I don't know if I really like this place necessarily, or like I
Well,
don't feel safe around these people. But it's like it just seems like something that like even the like mom acknowledges that like it wasn't necessarily like the best street, and that you know, they kind of had a rough time as far as like that sort of situation. But I almost kind of wish we got more context and more background on everything because of that loop. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of like missing information that I feel like should have been brought to this. But I do feel like, you know, there's this consistent, oh, you should talk to a doctor, you should talk to somebody about this and like see why this is even being uncovered now versus like a
Yes.
few years ago with him being a toy inventor for so long. So I don't
That's
know.
why I
I
said I think I like what the episode had to say. I just didn't like how they said it. I think
Yeah.
it was the execution of their point was not very good. It didn't
Mhm.
really. I mean, we got it
Well, I
across,
mean,
but it didn't come across in a as genuine a way, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, Jacob. I mean, he got a chance to buy 3-cent wieners. So I mean, no, but in all honesty, like in all seriousness, like it really does have it really. Once again, Jacob is right. It has great message about what it's trying to represent. It just, as Alex alluded to as well, it just doesn't do it very well, and
Yeah.
it makes you hate a character that you should actually feel some sympathy for. And that's why, as much as it would be a downer ending, we might actually hate it. Like the other ending sounds way better because
What was the other
it's
ending?
like it was Triv, wasn't it like where he was stuck in his own hell or time loop or whatever?
I don't.
I
don't
think, yeah, I
remember
think it
seeing
was
anything with
where,
that.
well, no, I think
But
if I
yeah,
read it right,
it's
yeah.
the story ends oh, I see it. I'm just kind of on the Wikipedia page, but I know it's
Me too. I
mentioned
guess
in
I could read that,
Secretus
huh?
2. Well, it's okay. I have my phone. Anyway, it's saying here that in the Studio One version, which I guess is probably just the original version of the script, I'm assuming, the story ends at the Fords' apartment with the audience invited to assume that Horace has been permanently transported back to his miserable past. Versus, like in the Twilight Zone version, story continues on where Laura leaves the apartment and then Horace magically, you know, was transformed into a child and then now is back to an
That's what I
adult
thought was going to happen.
towards the end. Yeah,
I thought it was going to end with him being his kid version.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought too, because it kind of reminded me of
Kick
I
the
think the
can.
episode like Kick of the Can,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where it was more of like there was also in that episode too there was a bit of that reminiscing of, oh, when we were kids and like, you know, we don't necessarily love being in this elderly home in this state, you know, so then they
Yeah.
transform into children to then like I mean I guess it could be
That or the one
implied
with the
in a certain
mother
way of
in the
like
house.
Well,
yeah.
It's fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I feel like it could be implied in a certain way of like them necessarily
Right.
like almost like maybe passing on, or it's just sort of being a thing where they kind of like I don't know how to necessarily say it, but it's like they kind of live eternally in this daydream.
What did you think of the stuff about the mom? Like Horace brings up how like she was always in the front row for tragedy and she always would ask, did anybody jump?
They like at the end when she's like, what are we gonna do? Like all over his ass and won't let up, and the wife's like, stop. That was essentially, I think what they were trying to do there is try and like show her loving, you know, putting on a face that she didn't like it, but kind of loving just being in the middle of all the drama
Right. I could
on
see
the front
that.
row, if you will. I thought.
Well, I know of that time and place. I mean, there's multiple mums in this series that are like that, where it's like the bored housewife.
It might just be like a mundane being like, oh, my life is so mundane, like let me just look into like what's going on in the world.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true
ooh,
too.
something's happening, you know, versus like just kind of being at home all day with the
I
wife
thought-
potentially. So
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting little bit. Yeah, this.
Anyways, where were we? I know Alex was speaking.
Boring episode.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about the premise of the episode yet.
Nick
Well,
lost
I
his
mean,
head.
we got into like the nuts and bolts of the episode. Technically, I mean, it's
like,
about a.
it's like, oh hey, here's the cast. Okay, this
I think
episode
most-
kind of sucked.
I think most people that
Well-
watch these though have probably seen the episode. You think?
Well, I
No.
just said her.
Let us know in the comments below.
Well,
Well, I think too that like I mean you look at the name of the episode and until you actually like go in to look at it, I do think that it's not necessarily the first thing that I mean this one's pretty straightforward, but there's so many episodes that don't necessarily you can't really get a lot from the actual title.
Are there a lot of
Well-
people that watch our podcast that haven't seen the episode we're talking about though?
No,
I
in
don't
that
know. They never
respect.
comment, so
Yeah.
I have no
No
idea.
idea.
Like, hey, I'm going to
Most
watch
of
this
the time-
Twilight Zone podcast, 2-hour podcast about a 30-minute episode from 60 years ago. that
Okay,
I've
but like
never
for
seen.
those who don't know or maybe don't remember,
Oh no, I think we should
I
go
mean-
through it, but I was just curious.
Aren't the kids today? Aren't they into nostalgia stuff like the stuff of us as young kids? Like I always see, like, oh, look at them record players and Jinko jeans and fucking. There was a tweet. Yeah, there was a tweet on.
You wore Jinko jeans, didn't you, Nick?
No, actually, I didn't.
Don't
I
lie.
wore painter pants, but there was
You
a, there
had
was
Jinko
a
jeans and a big like chain that went to your wallet. Did you?
yeah, Jacob, you just nostalgia for your own time. But no, the episode basically is Horace works at a toy design company. I guess he's designing a robot.
Designed. He designed.
Oh, he
Designed.
like to
He's
design
zoinks.
Designing. He's
Zoinks.
designing toys.
He likes the robots.
Jinkies.
We all like
He's
the robots.
designing all these fucking toys. Eh?
Oh yeah, there you know.
Um,
You serve it up with
actually,
the hot dish, it's pretty nice.
It's a piano.
Vaughn
and
Taylor actually-
notes.
It's a piano.
Taylor did- oh my God! Stop! 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 Say that. No.
I
let
have
him
to-
talk.
It's like a tick. I have to do it.
But no, Vaughn Taylor, the way he says robot is really interesting. He doesn't actually say robot. He's like robot.
I wonder if
Something
he's
like
making
that.
fun of Rod Serling when he does that.
I mean,
That's
he's
how
been in
Rod
5
Serling does it.
episodes, so it's possible.
I know he's also he's in the Mask too, right? In season 5.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
no,
he's the
Cameron Diaz?
the old man,
yeah.
the
think that's the same actor.
dying father or dying. Yeah, he's a
Or,
father, isn't he?
well, father
Let's
slash
just hope-
Yeah,
grandfather.
he's like a wheelchair user, like in the episode, and then
He puts on the skull mask.
yeah, he
Actually, he's
yeah.
not. He's in the Self Improvement of Salvador Ross, which I
Oh,
don't.
Who am
yeah.
I thinking of then?
I know
Who
that
would-
one.
I would have thought the same thing because he's the mask is. Let me look it up.
Oh, he was in several
Oh, Robert-
episodes, including I Sing the Body Electric, Time Enough at Last, Still Valley, The Incredible World of Horace Ford, and The Self Improvement of Salvador Ross.
Oh.
Guys.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Robert Keith was the one in the mask. They look similar.
Oh,
So I mean,
They do look kind of similar.
Yeah, same facial structure.
I would have thought.
Guys, I
I
just
mean, all
like
white people
there you
apparently
go.
look alike.
I noticed something on Wikipedia just now
What's that?
What'd you
under
find
themes. Themes.
Themes?
I think we
Mhm.
say
Is
their
that like
words.
robots?
This first sentence, the first line of this paragraph is all we needed to read, and we could have just ended the episode. This episode revisits themes used in the series in episode The Trouble with Templeton. That's it, right there. We're done.
I said that when we started. I
Did
said
you?
that.
I'm
yes.
sorry.
You did say
I was
that.
paying attention to you 100%.
Uh-huh.
I was not
X to doubt.
paying
I
attention to
don't
my
believe
camera and
you.
I don't
mean,
either.
throttling.
to be
it.
fair, Triv just alluded to Trouble Templeton and Walking Distance. Jacob had to like highlight Trouble Templeton
Well,
just
yeah.
to make it
I
clear.
heard. Did Triv make a video game reference?
Yeah. What about
She
it?
Did? Oh my god.
X to doubt is not that.
Jacob,
much
you
of a-
forgot to bring out the explosion.
Oh God, what's going? I don't even know if I want to know.
He's going to Randolph Street, guys. He'll be right back.
Oh, that was another weird thing. So the lady kept getting the Mickey Mouse watch, but it kept disappearing every time. Like, does she have 4 Mickey Mouse
No,
watches?
it wasn't. It wasn't
think
a
he
Mickey
was-
Mouse
I'm
pretty
watch.
sure-
though. Dude, Jacob, you got it wrong. Where's the Call of Duty Black Ops game at? Press X to salute or whatever.
They usually do the PC version. Press
Well, I
F
think-
to pay respects.
Yeah,
I think I've got that. I don't know which one that is. I've got all those Call of Duties. I never played them.
Triv. I don't think he kept giving her the Mickey Mouse watch. I think it wasn't until
Yeah,
the
he's
end
giving
that
her
he
the regular
actually-
watch. It wasn't until the last time I gave her the Mickey Mouse watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He just
When he
wasn't
turned
into a
gonna
kid.
say, drop this.
I was gonna
That
say
too.
too,
Run
the
off down the
watch that
hall.
it's like I'm pretty sure she just gave it back to Horace,
Ah, that's
or
possible
like
too.
just maybe put it like on his
Yeah,
like,
because I was
I don't
thinking
know,
the
if they
same
like
thing.
nightstands or whatever.
I really
Yeah.
expected
Maybe
it to
he
go
like
somewhere
she
else.
like
though.
placed it for him, or but like didn't really mention that like she saw the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Clearly, she just
never
kind
really
of like
brought that up.
set it aside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I mean,
was
that
also
doesn't
weird.
necessarily confirm everything he was saying, but it is an odd occurrence. And it's kind of like, well, you think when he was talking about that, she'd be like, this kid did show up with your watch like
Right.
17
like-
times now.
I'm like, is this starting to get into Nightmare as a Child territory? Like, what is going on? It was getting
Yeah,
a little
that's
weird.
actually a fair
Yeah.
Who does Horace
comparison.
have in the basement?
They live in like a third
With the
story
children.
apartment.
Get him in the boiler room.
I hate
The
to say it, but that
radiator.
was the largest apartment I've ever seen in my entire life.
Apartments were bigger back in the day.
Apparently.
Plus, if you're living
Um,
with your mom/mother-in-law, you need that space.
Yeah, you do.
Right?
Fair.
You need like at least 100 feet,
Absolutely.
I mean, it had to be at least 2 bedrooms.
Oh yeah.
Hey, they all sleep together. Who knows? Close knit
I
family.
mean, it is the Twilight Zone.
Couple that
No.
hallucinates together stays together.
Right. Welcome back, Trib.
What?
No,
was
but like
Horace's
most
childishness like a result of his mother's overbearingness?
I feel like they didn't really dig too much into that. Like the
They
only
did not.
indication I remember is so like part of like what happens in the episode, right, is the idea that, Horace's 38th birthday is coming up, and so, the wife and the coworker, close friend of Horace are like, "Hey, like we want to do a big surprise party." And like the day of, the mother is bringing out that cake, and it has like, I think it had like a fire truck or something on it. Like
Yeah,
it definitely was like decorated in such a way where it would
Like a
maybe play
child.
on to, yeah, exactly, like the kind that like almost reminded me of the kind that you'd see at like grocery stores, those like pre-made ones that would have like
Yeah.
the different characters on it, or like a
I
certain
got you a
design,
SpongeBob cake, Horace.
but like just be filled with frosting too,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, I was gonna bring up something that Trib brought up while I was watching the episode, and is this a guy who has a disorder? Like, is he somebody who has, like we were talking about with miniature? Is it somebody that is he just a man child, or does he have an actual thing that they worry is going to affect him? I mean, it's just, and once again, like you said, Alex, it doesn't explain exactly. All it does is prove to us that this guy is a man child. He yells at everyone, and he just doesn't seem like a very good person. And everybody suffers because of him. And like when he quits his job, he's like, I don't need this job, and I'm gonna go have a hamburger. It's like, is there something truly wrong with him, or is there something? Is he just
he's
an asshole?
irritating.
I almost feel like it like I know there's certain like criteria and certain things for this, but it's like, I mean, during like my like rewatch of this episode, he did come across as like a bit narcissistic, but that only kind of came across to me more when he was talking to his boss. And like that whole interaction where it's like, it seemed like the boss was like being pretty fair and understanding, and being like, hey, like I'm only trying to be this like
Hey,
accommodating because of
he's like, take a
maybe going through
break.
something.
Yeah, take some time off.
Right.
Like, yeah, and he's like, "Fuck you! I
Mhm.
ain't taking nothing off, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna keep working." He's like, "All right, well,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose your job." He's like, "I don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go eat a hamburger." It's like,
Take this
Mhm.
job and
What do you-
shove
I'd
it.
also
What do you
I'd
have
also
against
say too with
hamburgers?
no, I have not. What's that?
What do you have against hamburgers?
Oh no, what'd you say, Alex?
I was
It's
gonna
not
say
you,
too,
Trip.
like how he almost like disregards like the dinner table, like within the
Yeah,
loop.
yeah. I
Like
don't
with
need
the
any
wife
food.
and mom too was also kind of weird, because it's like
Yeah.
you see them as like very caring and very much being like, I hope he's okay, and sort of giving, pretty much being concerned and like in anguish about, what the fuck is going on. And then Horace is like, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and like I'm not gonna call them
I'll
back.
do what I want.
Yeah, like it kind of gave
Do what I
that
want,
sort of
God.
like I'm the man in this situation. Like I'm going to decide what I want to do. I'm gonna decide I'm gonna go to visit my childhood street versus eating this nice steak and potatoes. Like
I didn't even get that vibe.
that was like I don't know.
I just got like
it
a
was more of like
selfishness.
towards like the second half.
Yeah.
I would say like where I was giving off that, where it kind of gave off that vibe to me. But
He was so childlike. I didn't even ever get the vibe of I'm the man of the house and I'm taking care of things and I'll do what I want because I bring in the bacon and all that or nothing like that. I just he was like, in the
Well,
middle of
not to
like this
that extent, like
interaction.
compared to other like
Well, yeah,
male
but-
figures in the Twilight Zone for sure. But it definitely like there was like an essence of that there.
He was just
Just a
like
little bit.
he'd be in the middle of this like dinner, like an interaction with these people, and then he'd be like, "All right, I'm going," and he'd leave. But it was never. It came across as just like this kind of self-centered childishness and
Yeah,
just
self-centered
selfishness.
would be, yeah.
Where he's like, I want to do this right now, so I'm going to go do it. But not even like from a masculine standpoint, just kind of a like kids do. Kids will, I'm going to do this now, and they're like don't really think of anyone around them at times.
Mhm.
That's like how he came across. It's like he was like a child, and that's what made it so odd that A, he is married, and B, he's married to her. I'm like, how did this?
Mhm.
I want to see this courtship. How did
Agreed.
this happen? But then in the end,
Mhm.
I will say in the end, when he had his revelation, he was coming across as pseudo normal at that point. Like his whole demeanor and everything was different. I was like, is this whole childishness thing, is that like more recent? Is it supposed to be like, was he always? I don't see how he was always this way and he got anybody like as a man child. So like, is it a more recent development that he's been reminiscing about Rhubarb Street or whatever the hell it's called? And I mean,
Randolph.
yeah, that.
Triv, I don't know. I mean, to answer your
I
question
need
earlier,
answers,
Triv,
Nick, now.
Well, no,
Head of the podcast, give me answers.
Hey,
I have no
lower your
answers.
voice a little.
I am now.
and
Gonna
to
talk very
go off,
loud.
and to go off what Triv was asking, hamburgers are fucking terrible. By the way, you need
What?
cheese, you need bacon, you need lettuce,
Okay,
you
it
need
depends
tomatoes.
on the burger.
Dude,
It does
depends on who
very
made the
much.
burger.
Depends on the burger
if a
joint,
hamburger,
my
a
dude.
hamburger's like unsalted butter on
It
toasted
is
bread.
I can
not.
make you a hamburger that make you have to change
Okay,
your
what
pants,
kind
okay?
of burgers are you eating? Like,
An actual hamburger or a cheeseburger?
I
I have had some
either one.
fantastic just burgers.
You
They've
guys
been
are
crazy.
monsters.
I'm
Close
It's like
your
the
face.
pineapple on
chef.
pizza.
I can,
guys, we
that's
can't
one
take
thing I
them to
can do.
Mel's. We can't take them to
No.
Mel's drive-in.
I can feed motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Alex, I've been to the Mel's Drive-In at Universal, and they make the worst food. That shit is terrible.
Honestly,
Theme
yeah.
park food is the worst. Like an actual Mel's Drive-In or whatever would be pretty awesome, but when the one that they have at Universal is awful.
Okay, but like
Um,
I will say, okay, so everyone kind of has like their preferred like burger place, right?
Yeah.
So like
Five Guys.
I don't know.
What?
See, okay, we at least have an option.
My motherfucking kitchen.
Well, yeah. See, I don't know. I guess it just depends. But like, I mean, I was just giving Mel's as a reference, but
No,
I mean,
no,
for me
no, no.
personally, it's like I'm not
yeah, I
even
get
a
you.
burger person, but I'm like, there's some good like hamburgers out there, you know? I think you just need to explore more options
Yes.
outside of Five Guys.
Yeah, it's called adding cheese and bacon and mayo and
No.
ketchup.
I mean, cheese and bacon on a burger is fantastic, but
Right.
you can make a regular burger with no cheese. You can make it legit. Just gotta know
He's
how.
never had
It's
like
all
the dollar
seasoning.
menu at McDonald's where it's like it's just
I
a
have, and I
hamburger.
wanted to gag when I ate that hamburger. It was so dry.
No, but you gotta have the pickles in it.
Oh, pickles. Oh,
You don't
Oh.
like pickles?
How about pickles
Oh.
on pizza?
how about you get the hell out of
okay.
here?
Hey Nick, guess what I
This
had
is-
for dinner tonight?
Pickles on pizza?
No, I had a pizza, but you want to know what was on it?
Was it
Oh,
pineapple?
disgusting.
It was pineapple, wasn't
Pineapple.
Yeah.
Nice.
Big.
Actually, I went to
Juicy
CC's for the first time in
Ooh.
years
pineapples.
today,
Nice.
and it was not. CC's for $8 is not bad. That's
Oh,
all I'll say.
feces pizza? Yeah.
Oh, Jacob, have you ever done pepperoni and pineapple?
I did it tonight. What are you talking about?
Well,
Ham,
normally,
pepperoni, bacon.
ooh, I've only ever done Canadian bacon,
Onions?
but then my friend ordered up a pepperoni and pineapple pizza, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. And one of the other pizzas we made had turkey bacon.
Ooh,
I can really tell a difference, but it's better for you.
Yeah.
No, actually, it really isn't.
I mean, it's
it?
like anything you buy in a fucking package is not good for you. People are like, oh, I bought this health food. Dude, that was made like 2 years ago. The amount of preservatives they've pumped into that thing to keep it edible is going to kill you faster. So, yeah.
Yeah.
After the doctor told me that I could die, I decided to eat better. So
Yeah.
that's why I went to CC's Pizza today.
It's okay. That's the thing. It's okay to eat it's not even all about eating better. I know
When you're
we've gone off the
390
rails
pounds,
here.
it's not okay to eat.
But look
It's
at
not okay.
look at 100 years ago or so when people ate like fucking. I mean, look what they were eating. They weren't
Lard.
eating. Yeah, they ate fucking lard and like a whole turkey and like they had like these big feasts for dinner and stuff like that, and they ate hearty meals. But
Yeah, but when they were
it
all
was
look like the Northmen.
but that's the thing is you didn't see a lot of a ton of overweight people back then because yes they were more active but they weren't overeating and all the shit wasn't in the food, man. Since I
That's true.
like took all that shit out of my diet and now I eat more or less naturally. I mean, I still eat meat. I still eat I eat the same shit I was eating before. I just make it all myself and it doesn't have all that shit in it.
Anyways, why did we get on this
Red.
subject? I don't even remember.
Because you guys
like,
don't
food.
want to talk about the actual episode.
There's few things I know.
Alex
a lot
is like,
about, but
why
know
did
a
I
lot
even
about
join
food.
this episode? Like,
Well, I was gonna pick up where
Yeah.
it's like, there definitely were still people who were, like plus size who existed in that time period. It's just
Oh, yeah,
not
for
as,
sure.
like,
It was a
Well,
different
they were-
kind of.
yeah,
I
it
don't
just
think
They were
wasn't
presidents of the
necessarily
United States.
portrayed because of.
Yeah, it wasn't
I'm sure
nearly
it
as
has something to
much.
do with like how even people of color were discriminated in such a way where, even in the Twilight Zone, there are not as many episodes where you see some diversity and inclusion in there.
Yeah.
yeah, usually the episodes of the Twilight Zone are like the boxer one, and there's
The big tall
Color
witch.
Me,
Yeah.
yeah, then Color Me Night.
Which that episode was specifically made for that. Like
Yeah.
everybody in it was, I think everybody in
Mhm.
it was black, right? Except for like one character. But he made
I
it that
think-
way specifically for that very reason. So like,
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And then that episode you're referring to, Nick, I think that one's in season 5.
It is. It's black, something like Black as a Night. What is it? Hang on.
I Am the Night, Color Me Black. That's a
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
that's a really hard episode to watch because of what it represents.
Mhm.
It might be one of the hardest episodes in the Twilight Zone. It's a really good episode, but yeah, it's
Here and there too, like you'll see, like you'll see that too with what's the episode with George Takei? Is it the
I heard that
Encounter?
episode's off. Yeah.
It's definitely is mixed. Like
Yeah.
it definitely left people pretty divisive about it. But I'd say even an episode like that, there is that kind of conversation, at least like there's casting of those in it versus just like,
I watched
who we-
Gods
I
of
guess we
Egypt
can
recently
choose.
with its very diverse cast of Egyptians.
Poor Alex Proyas. Actually, I Am the
Wasn't
Night,
that
Color Me
bad.
Black is I Am the Night, Color Me Black is actually directed by the director of this episode.
Oh.
So
Reginald Rose.
yes, double R. But I mean, that means rest and relaxation, Triv.
Oh yeah, so
That
what
means-
happens on Randolph Street?
Is on
Yeah.
Randolph Street.
people
Bread and butter.
yeah, people dancing in shit water and
3-cent
some guys
wieners.
selling wieners, 3-cent wieners, and a couple holding hands that apparently can't get out of the way of Pat Hingle because he's looking for Batman, and a bunch of kids stealing apples, and a mother or old woman dropping something that he helps pick up, and then that's what it is 3 or 4 times in a row, which Jacob alluded to way back when we first started this episode 3 years ago. That
It was 3 times, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it literally is like, this is all you have. I mean, it's the same thing. It goes back. He complains about his nostalgia. He gets fired. It's like,
He essentially has the same.
I know we could talk
conversation
about the
over
episode, but
and
it's just
over.
like, what is there? There's nothing to talk about because it's the same thing over and over and over. And
Mhm.
at one point he becomes a kid, gets his ass kicked. It's just like, maybe this is worse than I Dream of Jeannie. I don't fucking know. This is the worst episode ever.
So why
I wouldn't go that
so
far.
why was he beat up though?
Because he didn't invite
Because he
him.
had because he had glasses on. I mean,
No,
who the
because he
fuck-
didn't invite the
Well, I
kids
know it's
to
about,
his
like-
birthday.
But that
Yeah, but I was like, why didn't he just invite his so-called friends like to the birthday party?
But they didn't.
Was
He
kinda
didn't
where I was
invite them
going.
because.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that's what. Well, no, they didn't invite him because or he didn't invite them because they were fucking mean to him. They were bullies. It's just like that's what it feels like. That he remembers them more fondly than they truly were. It's like they weren't nice. They weren't nice to him. They were they were crass to him. They were mean to him. Like they in essence, probably did what they did in this episode, which was ignore him until, they wanted to beat him up. It's like he didn't stand up for himself. It's just, I don't, who
What about the
knows?
one kid though that kept bringing the watch back?
Yeah, what was up with that? That was the one that he
Yeah.
specifically
That
said he was
was
my friend.
Hermie. Is that his name?
Yeah, Hermie.
Maybe he was the kid that felt sorry for him or something. I don't know. I mean, he's sitting on top of a light pole at the end of the episode, so who the fuck knows? Maybe he's the
He's
Satan.
Peter Pan.
Maybe
with the
he's a
one
kid
tooth.
from Kick the Can.
That was a
I mean-
creepy grin. I'm just gonna say that.
His blacked out tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, kid, take this Sharpie and just start wailing on your tooth.
Exactly. I mean, in all honesty, like I appreciate, the other characters in this episode. I appreciate Vaughn Taylor's character about, he's a compassionate boss that cares about, having Pat Hingle. It almost feels like he's in touch with, Pat Hingle's wife in this episode, and I don't know if the guy is his friend or just a coworker that they get along with each other, because there's never really any justification or storytelling
He's been in the office
elements.
next to him for 15 years, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, but it never seems like they it doesn't seem like they have like a brotherly friendship or some shit. I mean, who the fuck knows? But
Well, the one thing that they kind of said was
why-
between
well,
the wife and the guy in the next office, they
Mhm.
specifically said, "Oh, well, I can turn that off," meaning I think the nostalgia, the nostalgia trip that Horace goes on consistently, but they
I
can't.
mean, it almost seems like they're gonna have an affair or some shit. I mean, what is? I don't understand the relationship. It's just really
Yeah.
weird that it's never fully explained.
Yeah.
That's
like
a
how-
good point though, Trev, about what you said with like this not just being like a one-time occurrence thing. Cause like I just remembered that like that was said.
That's just
I-
Horace.
I honestly
No, that's
forgot
okay.
like he even mentioned that, but like yeah, I guess like,
Actually-
that makes it even weirder then because it's like
Yeah,
because
should've
it's
called
like,
this
oh,
episode
I
That's
remember the
Just
time
Horace.
where I had this and that or whatever. It's like I think that's maybe why I guess it sort of helps explain why the friend of his is like, oh, it's just a phase. Like it's
Right.
not something to necessarily worry about to this extent, but the wife definitely can maybe see it as like it makes me wonder how long they've been married, I guess.
It
Because,
seems like
like,
a
we
long
know
time,
he's been-
but
Because like
I
he's
don't
been
know.
with the company for like they mentioned he's been with the company for like 15 years and that the wife has been nice enough to accommodate the mother. But I'm just wondering, I do wonder like how the timeline is as far as like his relationships with the people currently in his life and how that sort of home arrangement is in tandem with him working as this toy inventor too. And
I
like,
am.
You know what? In 50 minutes, they could have incorporated every bit of that, but they decided not to. Instead, they just did the same fucking thing over and over and
Lou?
over.
Right. And there's so many intriguing in questions that you could have answered, and they had the time to do it, but like there's so
Mhm.
much like the mom stuff, like her saying, "Oh, did anybody jump to and go, oh, my son, he carried this company on his back for the past 15 years." Obviously there's a lot going on with that aspect of it alone, and they just, I don't know.
It almost feels like there should have been a laugh track, and at the very end they do the pause, like and like as Jacob said, that's my Horace. That's what they called this episode, and I mean, I don't know, like that's the problem. Like, there's the problem with this episode is there's a lot of half written ideas, and none of them are fully explained to like any degree.
Yeah.
Like, you could almost make a whole season out of this episode to explain like where he came from, where it's like adding just Darth Vader in episode 1 of Star Wars or whatever, and then having no explanation of where he came from or something like that. It doesn't make any sense
That was
at
episode
all.
4. They did that in 1977.
Well, but like at that point you didn't need. I'm just talking about like, you want the back history, but all they did for episode 1 is just add Darth Vader back in or something, or I don't know.
I see, said the blind man. Yeah,
Yeah,
this episode wasn't good. Yep,
I like how you're to the
24
point.
minutes was
Blunt.
all they
Mhm.
needed, and they could have told this exact same story, and it would.
Did they need
tighter.
24 minutes, or as Tripp said, did they only need
Well, I
like 10
mean,
minutes? Because
they
it's
got
been like
24
a
or 50.
YouTube short.
That is true.
I feel
24
like
minutes or 50 minutes. That's the choices. So I would have gone with 24 because
yeah.
this
agree.
just did not need all that the fluff. I think that It had a good message, but I just think that they took the wrong turn at every turn, and not all of
Wrong
it.
turn,
I gotta
Albuquerque.
think because we're picking apart and we're saying, how did she end up with him and all these things and questions like that. I don't think necessarily are the story's fault. I think that it's more the way that the part is played, which I don't know if that's the actor's choice or if that was direction, but like I could see this have being written of having this person who had some of these man-child tendencies, but them not being so overbearing. But the way the part is played, he is so grating, annoying, and just childlike. It makes no sense that he's married to anyone, much less her. But I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that's the writing. I think that's just the performance itself. So at some point, it's kind of like the writer,
Well,
like, I don't need to
I
explain
mean,
it because it wasn't supposed to be that big.
I'm just saying, like you can blame, like, of course, Pat Hingle because he's a part of the problem, but it's also like you got to blame it on the director, you got to blame it on the writers too,
Oh, sure.
because
It could be direction.
well, that too. I'm just saying you still got to blame it on the writing because I mean they're leaving stuff out that is crucial to this character's development and the storytelling aspect. He just brings up small snippets of his childhood, like Ring Alivo and stuff like that. I think that's how you pronounce it, Ring Alivo, or about how young kids used to wear knickers and stuff like that. Like that stuff is okay, but what would have been cool is like what they did, kick the can or something like that. Well, eventually they did. Is like you said, go 24 minutes and have him go back once, turn into a kid, and relive the past. But like I said, it repeats it over and over and over. So at some point, it's like, sure, okay.
Just
And that's also a scripting issue as well because he's not given a lot to work with when it comes to a
Well, I think it was
character.
supposed to be a revelation when we find out in the end that he got beat up. That was supposed to be a revelation that, all this stuff how great his childhood was, it really wasn't that great. Because we all saw that a mile away coming, but
Oh yeah.
in the story, the way the story is presenting it, you're not supposed to know that until he goes over. He's like, "Why aren't you answering me?" And they're like, "Yeah, scrub, we fucking hate you." And beat him up. So like, that's supposed to be when we're supposed to be like, it's not as great as he said on Ramshackle Street or whatever.
And those kids, those birthday party
Rammstein.
attendants, those birthday
Rammstein
party
Street.
attendants should make Horace pay him back for all the time they had to say surprise.
Yeah.
I feel like if he had invited these kids, they would have said no. But now they're just mad because they didn't get invited.
Yeah.
Such a punks.
I was gonna say with the whole like 22 50-minute sort of conversation where I kind of like I was thinking about it kind of in the middle of us sort of talking about it, but in 22, like that season 2 episode, they do have the lead actress sort of live out this recurring nightmare where like she's in the hospital and then she meets this nurse who like on this level, on this like lower basement level that like doesn't exist in the hospital kind of thing. And the nurse is like approaching the morgue and is like, "Oh, there's room for one more, honey," sort of thing. And then she's seen as like, "Oh, like she's not necessarily well, like we're not sure if she should be taken out of the hospital." And then when she does, it ends up being this reveal where
It's the stewardess,
that
right?
nightmare, yeah, the nightmare was sort of, it was one of like the video, like the ones filmed in like with
Yeah,
3D, like one of
eventually
those.
leads into the
It leads into like the plane imploding on itself, basically.
the
Like,
opening of Final Destination.
yeah, so it ends up being this sort of, I guess like saving grace that like she didn't go on the plane kind of thing. Like it almost was
Yeah.
like this intuitive sort of, calling where it's like she couldn't help but like be like, yeah, but I saw this in my dream. Like I feel like this is more real than like it's being believed. So I feel like if it took more of a serious turn, at least with like Horace Ford and his situation, and maybe made it as like, even if it was him like going to bed and this was sort of a recurring dream where it's like every time I go to bed, it's like I think of my younger self in this thing, but it's like but every time I want to learn about more information, I just wake up and then I just want to go back to sleep and then want to see more of like what happens. Like I feel like if they maybe had it unfold in that way, maybe the loop could have made a little more sense, Ellie. But
Well,
as far as
I
like
mean,
how it's done here, where it's like he's very much conscious and very much like I'm on the street, and
Yeah,
every time I'm on the street, it's a loop. Like I don't know. That's kind of the only way I can think of it maybe working, at least in like a shorter format or just in general.
I
but-
mean, to be fair, Alex, the episode that did this the best is it has a Catwoman in it, Perchance to Dream. I think no, I mean, the nightmare thing would actually work really, really well. I mean, the idea of like him going back to, because you could do the repeat thing over and over and over. But
like it almost Stop a Willoughby too, where it's like it
yeah,
has that it has like the recurring like almost like rule of thirds. Whereas I think
right.
in Perchance to Dream, does he falls asleep more than once in that episode, right? Or
Yeah,
is it
there's a
only
couple.
once?
He's actually he's technically reliving the day like to his psychiatrist. I don't think he actually
Mhm.
like we're not in the dream. It's just him recalling.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Like
Mhm.
here, but once again,
Mhm.
so Jacob, you are saying that Catwoman would be much more interesting. Like bring Julie Newmar into this episode. She would make the episode much. Bring Julie Newmar, Julie Newmar into every episode. Hey, I was talking about Catwoman from Julie Newmar's perspective, but no, in all honesty, like it just when you said in reality or Twilight Zone reality of like what's happening instead of doing something more fantastical. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to put it.
Fantastical is the word you're seeking.
Yeah, fantastical.
Mhm.
I think you lose something in translation, or yes, you get lost in translation or something. I don't know,
Mhm.
but I mean, what do you guys? Anybody else?
I don't know what they
It-
did wrong, but they did it wrong.
Yes. Quite
Is
insightful.
it?
At least I was trying to,
Yeah.
Well, no.
figure something out with it. I like Jake.
This
So this is
episode's
like
some
don't call me.
bullshit.
So this is a don't call me Shirley situation.
Mm.
Isn't it always a don't call me Shirley situation?
Sure.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff with the mother and how she pronounces inadequate. Like, what do they mean inadequate? Like, it's like the way the mother, like in her crying, sounds like something like a fourth grader would do when they're trying to act like an old person. It's just really weirdly put together. I didn't know it was like, oh me,
I got the vapors.
yeah, like I can't handle this. Why is it all about me? I'm like, shut up. It's like, even his wife, Horace's wife, she even tells the mother to shut the hell
Shut
up.
up. Yeah, she
I was
straight
not
up said it
expecting
with a,
that.
Shut up.
Yeah, I was not expecting
Shut
that
up,
too, which is
bitch.
but as she's walking away, who will ever think about me? She like waves the white handkerchief and stuff like that. It's just I hate the way this direction of this episode takes. And then like when he eventually gets to the 80th time that he's been in this alley or this street, he's like, hey, aren't you listening to me? Aren't you listening to me? The kids are like, we're listening to you. Get the fuck away from us. And then he turns into a kid. Don't you listen to me? Don't you listen to me? Like, all right, let's go beat up this asshole. You invite us to a birthday party. We're eating apples that we stole from a vendor. It's just like gets beat
Being
up.
that they're eating apples, they are automatically assholes.
I mean, yeah, you're supposed to eat like cakes and candies and stuff, steal a little piece of candy from the store like, most of us did as a kid. And
It's giving riff rat, street rat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, all we need
Just
is
a little
Mm.
snack, boys.
I think he's rather tasty. No, but like, I don't know. It's just like when he gets beat up and she goes after him, she's seeing the kid. She's like, goes up against the wall, like she's counting to 3, and then he comes back, and Horace has changed for the better because apparently all he needed was some kids to beat him up and make him realize to stop being a man child. Which, there's nothing wrong with being a man child. Like, we're a day and age where the people that grew up like in our frame, like me and Jacob, like our age, are into like man child stuff. Like, it's not a bad thing, but the way no. My point is, you can like stuff like video games, you can like stuff like toys and stuff like that.
So,
but you gotta act like an adult in the process. Well, Trev, you're like a 90-year-old
child
woman.
at heart.
What?
but like,
Screw you. That's not
No,
saying
I mean,
screw
yeah,
you,
child at heart is fine, like, you know, but
Mhm.
like what he's doing is like almost like borderline abuse,
Did you
and
guys
the
notice
fact
that and I
When
think
we
this was
grew up.
probably on purpose, but when he would really get into the talking about like the kid stuff, like his voice would go up and he would really get like, and I guess anybody would get into it, and you're very like, oh, well, let me tell you about this thing. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Would you tell this to what happened?
It's like he wasn't talking to anyone. He
Right.
was talking to someone who wasn't there.
there was like a tonal change in the music too.
Yeah.
Whenever that happened,
yeah,
like it
which I
almost sounded
hate
like
music.
whimsical. Mhm.
Right. But it would do it during the serious moments too, which is like sometimes the Twilight Zone's guys like stay in its lane when it comes to its music cues. Because you know, when they hire people like Jerry Goldsmith to do score and it's fine. And then they put in this like random music that like when the mother's freaking out, they put in that score, it's like whimsical. I'm like, do you guys know what you're doing? Like, do you guys understand like where the music is supposed to be placed? And yeah, you can put it where the kids are, but it's just like I don't know what you're doing here.
The juxtaposition of the themes that were on screen as opposed to the audio cues.
I mean, it could be like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he starts playing like, you know, happy music during a sad, like a very dark scene and stuff like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
He's subverting your expectations.
It's artistic, man.
I don't think that there's a lot more to say on it. I think we've kind of discussed all the stuff that there needs to be
And
said.
besides
Really.
the fact that he's cured after he got his ass kicked by a bunch of kids, it's like,
Hey, man, sometimes an ass whooping will fix a
by,
lot of things.
well, I'm not saying like, you know, spanking is not fine or whatever. I mean, it depends on like what you use for a spanking, but it's just like he gets beat up by a bunch of kids. Like that changes his whole outlook on life. It's just like,
You got a memory bitch slap to tell him, hey, the thing that you are so nostalgic for was real life. I mean, you could say that about a lot of stuff. Like your people are nostalgic across the board for a time that was idealized in your mind. And that's a lot of folks, but there was, whether you're talking the 1890s, the 1930s, the 1950s, the 1980s, 2010s, they all have their issues.
Is anybody nostalgic for the 2010s?
I don't know.
I mean,
for
I
them.
don't know how excited I am for the 2020s. So 2010s might be a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this episode just falls on all things that it should do properly, and to have somebody like Pat Hingle and Vaughn Taylor and Dan Martin and all these people that have been, you know, have pretty great careers. This is kind of what you do. I mean, it just this is where I wonder if the series, it has like its moments, but sometimes I just don't know if the direction is smart. Sometimes it's frustrating.
Well,
I don't know.
and I mean, we've talked about this. Every season or every show is going to have those episodes that fall down. Like, and you know, comparing this one to, I don't know, any others at the bottom, say 15 on this list, you know, there's going to be those episodes, and where this is such a high bar, and then you get episodes like this, they're gonna feel worse because we come to expect a certain level from Twilight Zone.
Except for season 3.
Cheeky.
Season 4 is still better than season 3.
I don't know, man. There are some really good episodes in season 3, though.
There's some really mediocre ones too. I'm talking season as a whole. No, we're not done with this
Well,
season.
I mean, when you have
got 3 to
37
go.
episodes, I mean, some are going to be better. I don't know.
You know what every episode has in common?
Rod
The closing
Serling?
narration.
They have a closing narration.
Well, no, I was going to ask before we get into that closing narration, is there anything else you guys want to talk about with this episode? Anything else we want to
No.
bring up?
No.
I want
Holy
to blame
shit.
Stringy Bean on
I'm
the
good.
subway.
Trev, where's this place on pace and
So
IMDb?
Pace had it at 144 and essentially said that it's long for a 25-minute episode, much less a 50-minute. And then IMDb had it at 152, which is surprising.
Damn.
Yeah.
IMDb's usually
literally
higher,
near
but
the
I
bottom.
guess they eventually have to have something at the bottom.
Oh, absolutely.
Horace World doesn't have an incredible world.
Nope. Horace's
To be
Incredible
fair-
World is rather mediocre.
To be fair, they isn't IMDb based off like the score?
Yeah, off of user reviews. There was like a couple of like 8 and 10 like review or like scores, but it was talking about like psychological influences and things like that. And it's like, I think that and I mean, we run into this too all the time, and you can tell by the complete and utter craziness of our list, our conversations and what you bring into the episode is going to have an effect on, where you rank things.
I think this featured review on IMDb actually says it best. Pat Hingle, well, actually, mostly Pat Hingle is a lot of fun to watch as he exuberantly chews scenery, but the entire episode exhibits the worst faults of the extended 4 season episodes. His visit to Boyhood Street are repeated and repeated, all coming to naught. And the final resolution brings us right back around to the beginning with no lasting impact. Avoid this episode when you review the series. Thank you for telling me that now, William F. Hunter or E. Hunter.
They were like, avoid this episode at all costs, guys. Don't waste your time.
Right.
Yeah, it's like watching
My
the
gosh.
videotape from The Ring.
Yeah, most are like 5s and 7s and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You
there's a
know,
couple 2s.
I
the
mean,
character's
yeah,
so
I'd
well
say it's
played, we
pretty-
despise him.
It's like a 5. Like
Yeah.
a kind of mid episode. Like it wasn't like
Great.
yeah, but like let's say much. I honestly would only say it's a 5 because of like from the standout performance. It kind of reminds me of like what was the episode? It reminds me of like the Parallel 2, where it's like that one didn't necessarily stand out in my mind, and I saw it more of like somewhere in the middle. But like I would put it in the middle in part because of who they brought in, as far as the cast and like what they were able to excel like with given the material. So
Right.
I think that's even worse because they
you
brought
think
in
the Parallel
great
was
talent.
worse?
No, I'm
Oh,
saying I think
oh.
the talent they brought because they brought in this great talent and wasted them on such a boring ass story.
Yeah.
Because that's my biggest offense about this thing. I mean, there's little things I can pick apart, Hingle's performance and stuff like that. His performance, I think it's more of a direction and the way the character's written, but
Yeah.
his character, but it's just boring. I mean, that's going to put it pretty low for me.
Yeah.
Because just boring is like when in an entertainment medium, being boring is the cardinal sin. The only thing that would have made it worse is if it had something in it that was just bad. Trouble at Templeton, things like that. They had something in it that was just like bafflingly bad. Like boring is the worst. And you got that, you're the bottom. This doesn't have that. I'll give it that. It doesn't have anything in it that I'm just like, that was just terrible right there. Or I didn't understand, or it didn't make this clear. No, it's just boring.
I would add
Stretched
one
out
thing
fluff.
to that. I would add one thing, and that is that like you look at a good villain or a good character, they need to be compelling on a certain level, so you root for them, even if whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. There was nothing about Horace that made me want to root for him or give one singular solitary
irritating.
fuck. Right.
Hey,
So in
guys.
addition to being boring, I would add that.
Yes.
Guys, I think this 1-star review sums it up best for all of us. Can anyone be this annoying in real life? And this is capitalized, by the way.
Yes.
I'd rather
Yes.
I'd rather gargle glass than see this one again.
That's a bit harsh, but I
that's
see,
rough.
see where they're coming from. But
It
Why-
should actually
yeah.
that review brought up a good point. The title of this episode should be The Irritating World of Horace Ford. I will
Yeah.
say between this and Cliffordville, as far as like the episodes I've been on, like what the fuck are these titles? Like I wish the titling was just a little better.
the
or I
Twilight
guess
Zone titles
maybe
are
more
always out there.
accurate.
Yeah.
Most of
Yeah.
them.
Except for one of your favorite episodes, The Bard, which is actually about the Bard, a Shakespearean play. It's like
Exactly.
I mean, 4 o'clock was about
get to
4
that.
o'clock.
That
I mean,
was.
it's like for the most part, I feel like the episodes are pretty solid and you know what you're gonna get. But I can totally imagine someone looking at this episode at like the surface level of it, being like, oh, like the incredible world, like, this sounds intriguing enough, and then seeing how it's sort of the antithesis of the title and be like, wow, this is kind of not incredible.
That actually just
Yeah.
made me think of something. When you think like, so the incredible world, you think, oh, well, there's going to be, llamas and unicorns and, cups of Uranus and all that
Llama,
cool stuff.
llama,
Yes.
llama,
Llama duck.
llama.
I saw a
um,
llama last weekend at the Strawberry Festival.
Nice.
They try to attack you.
No, it's like a little
Was
llama.
he wearing a strawberry costume?
No, it was a strawberry festival that was strangely few strawberries.
Ah,
But hey,
Were
whatever.
the Beatles there?
there you go.
The Beatles?
Yeah,
think so.
because of the
Were the Ruddles there?
Strawberry. They had a lot of strawberries
No,
in one
strawberry
area. The
fields
rest of it was
forever.
just booths, and
Did they at least have
Food.
strawberry shortcake where you make your own strawberry shortcake?
they did. They actually have that, but it was over with the strawberry stuff. The rest of this whole thing outside was just petting zoos, live music, food trucks, and the things where you can buy all this tchotchke shit from people. I don't know
Hey,
what the hell they had to do with strawberries, but whatever.
Was it, hey, Jacob, was it in Greenbow, Alabama?
No, it was in Thorsby, Alabama.
You
No,
see,
but-
see a guy in a Nike hat running by, holding
There
a
was
ping
a
pong.
lot of guys, maybe in Nike hats. I'm not sure. Anyway,
Where
No,
were you-
but what,
Trev,
what
you-
I
where-
was gonna finish up with saying is they do the whole, like, with him, he's describing all of these things. They did the whole, like, tell don't show. And, like, you get the idea. It's like, oh, well, we used to play this and we used to do that, and it's like, well, part of Incredible World, and I guess this goes back to what Alex said too, but there's no part of that gives the audience any indication of how great these
Yeah.
times were. It's just
Mhm.
you describing this shit, and no one's gonna give a fuck because it's not magical. It's just boring.
It's delusion.
Yeah, that too.
Illusions of grandeur.
That
I
too.
mean, all it does is like have him walk down the street, get his pocket watch knocked off, and
right.
try to yell at kids, and that's all it really is. There's no nostalgia there. That's just a guy walking down the street that he used to play on, and old
Deluded
woman
is the
like
best way to state it.
yeah, a woman up in the window burping.
Well,
Sure.
that's the thing too. Like the watch actually could have been like a decent plot device for maybe him for him going back in time hypothetically on that street.
Yeah.
You gotta
Because we
wait for
only
the
really
stopwatch, though.
Well, I mean, fair, but like
No,
it
I'm
kind
kidding.
of in that I think it reminds me of what's the episode? It's like A Penny for Your Thoughts, where it's like when the penny's still is when he has that like super ability to like read minds and stuff, but then it's like when it drops down,
I like that.
then it's like
episode.
everything's back to normal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like they could have done something like that too, with
Yeah.
at least being like, oh, like here I picked up I dropped my watch on this street. Oh, I'm, in a time of the past that aligns with like my birthday, but except when I was like 10
Right.
or whatever. And then when you pick up the stopwatch or something, then it's like, oh, like things are back to normal again. I don't know why I'm giving the Twilight Zone my ideas. Honestly, I should just
You know who should have
create
written this?
myself. I don't know.
Stephen King on coke. That's who should have written this. Except just don't put that story beat from it in this episode. That'd be
Oh
really
God,
weird.
no.
I
Disturbing.
feel like this gives off what's that like Stephen King movie where it's like the boys
Oh,
they
lean
go
on,
on,
not lean on me. Stand,
Stand by me.
Stand by
Yeah,
Me. Yeah. It kind of gives off like I feel like it's sort of like it sort of gives off that kind of vibe or like alludes to like this being like the time before they go on, whatever adventure or something.
So what you're saying is we need a dead body in this episode.
Well, I mean, this
That would
is
be actually make it
DOA.
better.
But I just feel like we could have seen more of the boys being boys. I guess as far as like seeing seeing his
You mean-
childhood actually like on
mean-
screen versus like just being told about how it was. Kind of as a trip.
You mean them stealing apples is not enough for you?
Clearly they were like, how about them apples? And I was like, you didn't give any apples, you just took them.
Right.
And we
That's
did
my
have a
point,
dead
like,
body
that's-
on this
yeah.
one. We had the whole freaking episode was dead on arrival.
Oh, jeez. But no, I mean, Alex is 100% right outside of Trip's joke. Like,
What?
no, Alex is right. Like, it's just the idea of like apples is, them complaining about a birthday party. That's not enough to nostalgia. You can't
No.
just nostalgia off that. That's like
Mhm.
me nostalgia off what you guys claim is a good hamburger. It's just like that's not nostalgia. That's what you guys claim is a good hamburger.
That's a good hamburger. There's a
Yeah.
there's a difference.
No, I'm kidding. But no, like nostalgia, like
Are you?
me playing
Are you?
Mario. That's not good nostalgia. I guess it is good nostalgia. I don't know where I'm going with this. Jacob, give us the closing narration before I continue my rant.
Oh no, continue, please.
I don't know.
Okay. Closing narration.
The narration
that
of the closing.
Ready. The
Clearly.
narration that closes the episode
This is the narration that closes the episode. This is the narration.
Yes, it is.
This is the closing narration.
Rod Landshop.
Exit Mr. and Mrs. Horace Ford, who have lived through a bizarre moment to be calibrated on normal clocks or watches. Not to be, rather. Time has passed, to be sure, but it's the special time in the special place known as the Twilight Zone.
There you go.
Pregnant pause.
Yeah.
Pregnant pause. Good stuff. So everything's now hunky dory and
No, it's not good stuff.
no.
So we're
I
thinking
mean,
this
everything-
episode's towards the bottom, right? Are we on that
Well, we'll
consensus?
get
I
there in a
mean,
second.
honestly, I'm thinking
All
around
right.
36.
What is that
Um,
36 right now?
I
Or
don't know if that's
37. I mean, we can push it down to 37, I suppose.
My
Well, let me
God, get
introduce that
over
segment
it.
first before you guys start arguing about it. But no, I mean, yeah. So there you go. That's the episode. That is the incredible, boring world of Horace Ford and his apple eating asshole kids and
That's a
bitching
whole
about
other.
everything.
That's a whole other kettle of fish right there.
kettle of fish.
Yes.
That's a whole load of popcorn.
Yes.
Yeah, just not a very good episode. I think we all agree. So with that said, now that we're trying to get out of this episode, like Alex said last week, we need to get out of Cliffordville. Let's do the closing segment, which of course is the Twilight Zone ranking list, the greatest ranking list ever known by man. Sometimes we are nostalgic about it, sometimes we are not. Okay, so is this worse? You said this is worse than I Dream of Jeannie, right?
I mean, I think it deserves to be at 37.
Triv, stop.
You
I mean, we
know-
can put it at 38.
Son of a bitch.
I was so close to leaving this call. So close.
No, I think that this is
Okay.
bottom 4, I would say.
Bottom
So you really?
four.
Well, let me ask you this: do you in all honesty, do you think this is worse than The Gift, 4 O'clock, Jungle, Static, and Trouble at Templeton? Like, you think it's really as bad as
Oh.
those? Because those are like bad. Like, I Dream of Jeannie is
Yeah.
bad, but
Yeah.
I mean, then we
Definitely
got
below
the Fever, Still
It's-
Valley.
It's definitely below the Fever because I know you guys hated this episode and I don't think it's great, but I think I liked it a little more than you guys did.
I mean, when I say that, you're not saying like by much though. So
No, not much. I have a thing for a sentient slot machine.
I mean, Triv said it. She has a
Yep.
thing for slot machines. She has a thing for slut machines.
Yep. I am a slot machine.
This chick's cool.
Mm.
She's talking about
Yeah.
sluts.
yeah. Yeah. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
No, but I mean, in all honesty, like
Pull my
we're
trigger. Or pull my thing.
pull your trigger.
Pull your
Pull my
thing.
pull my anyway. Pull my handle. Yeah.
But I mean, we got Still Valley in there. I mean, Still Valley.
What
That's
was
a-
Still
that's a pretty
Valley?
bad
Let me pull
episode.
this fucking list up and participate.
was-
Hang on.
What was that? What was Still Valley about?
That's the one where they walk. He has the book of like the devil. He has the Bible or something like that. But
No,
the whole
it's-
town's
Book
like,
of Witchcraft. And it just
Yeah.
says
the book of
witchcraft.
Oh my
Yeah, and it's like
God.
the town is all frozen.
It's like
walks
Civil
into a
War,
town.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
Civil
yeah.
War based.
But isn't like they're like all dead people or something like that? This
No,
is
they're
how
No,
just
that's
unremarkable.
Passerby. No, Passerby
that too.
was had a similar.
Yeah, this was Civil War, but it was like everybody was like stood in place. Like everybody was frozen.
Oh,
This is how unremarkable that episode
well,
was.
yeah, I guess that shows it. I would see it on the bottom.
I think this should be 112.
I could be okay with that.
Because The Gift, wasn't that the one where they're in like Mexico and Jesus
Yeah.
shows up
Yeah,
or
Jesus.
something?
I
and
think
they're
I
I
shooting?
think that one also had a diverse cast in it too, Nick.
Yeah, I think Jesus was
I
white.
think so. Yeah,
He's an alien or some shit like that. Yeah, that one was. I did not like that one. Was
that one took place
boring.
in Mexico.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
or
A
like
border town or
California
something.
back in the day.
But it was
Yeah.
like boring, but it also had things about it. I just like it made choices that did things that I was like, that's bad. This one
Right.
is just boring. I don't
Mhm.
think it doesn't do anything that I'm inherently just like, see that right there is just
Mhm.
bad. It's just kind of like it's just boring. The bad part is it's just boring. See,
Right.
everything below the gift or the gift and below, I think is boring and makes very bad choices. Like there are things I can point out. The jungle, that was awful. 4 o'clock was awful. Static was just mind-numbingly boring. Like so boring I forgot it existed. And the trouble with Templeton was just fucking terrible.
Still Valley is also an episode where Vaughn Taylor plays the devil or witchcraft
Hill Valley
guy.
had something in it. It had at least that hillbilly witch. He was kind of entertaining. It
Yeah,
was
that
only
was Vaughn
24
Taylor.
minutes.
That was the boss in this episode.
He's the boss.
Oh,
Need
really?
the info.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. He
Oh.
was the guy with the witchcraft book.
Honestly, if this one had been a shorter episode, like in the 24, 30-minute range, it'd probably get boosted up in the 80s or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Depends on
Boost
how
up to
they
110.
presented it, but it definitely wouldn't be this far down. The boring factor is mainly because it's just so drug out for so long.
It did take
felt
ages.
every minute of the 50 minutes and then some. I'm pretty sure this episode was 110 minutes.
It was actually double the length. Are you sure you weren't watching it like 3 times or what? 0.25 the speed?
I should have been watching it at 0.3 the speed. Oh,
The speed of light. I
Faster.
mean, do you guys want to put it below I Dream of Genie, but above the gift?
I mean,
that's what I think, but I guess I'm not the only one here.
okay, Jacob. I guess where I'm looking at like the list, I definitely feel like it existing towards the bottom of it, I think is only fair. I think the sentiments towards the episode, I feel very similarly to the rest of y'all. I would say too, as far as some of the other episodes, even in the like 90s and even the like hundreds, that I would like, even though they aren't great episodes, I would still watch some of them again out of just them having like interesting concepts or at least being like semi-entertaining in some capacity. Or, I mean, obviously my list was, I feel like I say this every fucking episode, but I feel like it would be a little different than
Just a
how
tad
things
different,
are.
yeah.
Just a tad. But it's like I can see myself watching some of the episodes that are on like, kind of like the bottom of the list again, probably until like Still Valley. I feel like, but only because I just don't really remember that episode. If I were gonna be a little nicer to this episode, just because it's not like bad, but as Jacob said, it's like because of it being just so boring, like I really wouldn't necessarily like watch this episode again. And I feel like if I were to rewatch, the entirety of the series on my own, this would be one of those episodes that just would be like an immediate skip, at least for me personally, because it's like I just wouldn't have interest in it.
I mean, this puts the Mighty Casey well into much better territory than I
okay,
always called that like
Mighty
one of the
Casey.
worst.
No, that was one of the episodes where I was like, I liked the concept of it, sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of saying like more in like I can see it going like slightly higher just because of the cast at the very least. But like I wouldn't watch this again. Like I feel like, I mean, I can definitely see it at like right below. I mean,
this
guess
makes
I mean, I don't know, just somewhere around I Dream of Genie could definitely fit on this list.
this
That's a
makes the
big
four
part
of
of
us
how
are
I
dying to
rate
look like
Sort of
mad.
thing, yeah.
myself. That's a big part of
Yeah.
how where I decide would
Yeah.
I watch
Like
this
I'm
over
kind of
this
like
again.
I'm kind of in that area, but I feel like if it were to be like a little nicer to this episode, like I feel like I would maybe put it around,
You don't feel like
I
you
don't
need
know,
to.
like, well, I know, but like I feel like with like when I saw Where Is Everybody, that was kind of another episode that stood out to me where I was like, where I felt like it had great potential to it, but with it also being like the first episode and then having even arguably like the episodes within that first handful that got released like pretty much outshining it in my personal opinion. Like it's one of those episodes that would also be sort of a skip for me, so that's why I kind of was like, oh, I can see it being placed like at 106 if I was being generous, but I think yeah, I guess I'm being way too fucking nice. I don't know. One of those days.
See, I would
I don't know.
add this to your, and I understand trying to raise it up because of the cast that's in this,
Mhm.
and it's obviously not their fault for the way things turned out.
But I think
But I
it's
would
also
say-
because like I know of some of the other episodes that are coming up that I know are just like, in my opinion, are just not great. I
Okay.
think that's also where I'm coming from too, where it's like I'm thinking perhaps maybe a little too ahead as far as like
That's
what's
okay.
to come. But I don't like because there are select few episodes in my mind with season 5 that are just rough. And I would definitely put like at the bottom personally. So it's like in comparison to those episodes that I feel like we have to like still rank. I feel
Guys,
like
we
I
haven't
would,
even gotten to the
you know, this
bewitching
episode.
pool yet.
Yeah, true.
I know. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so great.
Yeah. The end of the series, yeah.
But you know what I mean?
I
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just one of those things where I'm just sort of like, I'm like, I don't know.
I
It's
think
like
this episode's worse than Perchance to Dream.
All right, we've done it. 38. 38.
Woo! See, I told you.
Oh God.
No, I don't think Perchance to Dream needs to be where it's at, but I do think I would watch Perchance to Dream over this episode.
Yeah.
That's
I just think
Mm.
when I look at episodes and how I rank them, I always rank them on like a more, did this episode deliver what the Twilight Zone is capable of? How did it deliver? Did it have a cast that was worth watching? And is it a meaningful episode? Because you go to the top 10 episodes and they're all meaningful, interesting, well thought out episodes, and you get this shit where it's just like, guy is just a super asshole, big asshole, and nobody seems to like put him in his place, and he just gets away with being an incredible asshole to people, and it
You
just
go.
doesn't. Huh?
You go a lot deeper than me. I literally
Well,
look at
I've
it
always
as,
got
would I
deeper than you.
watch this
That
again?
is true.
Actually, that's not true.
He goes deep on
Oh
Horace.
my
I say, would I
God.
watch this again, and would I watch it over whatever I'm ranking it around? Because like meaningfulness, I
Mhm.
appreciate that, and I think if it's a good episode, it absolutely comes into play with me. If it's not a good episode, it's like, well, it was. I appreciate the meaningfulness of this episode and what it
Mhm.
stands for, but at the end of the
Jacob,
day,
you're
entertainment medium. I mean, look at number 93, Big Tall Wish. That was
Mhm.
a very meaningful episode. It had lots of relevance, and I applaud that. But the episode sucked, so it's like
You take that back.
well, I mean, in my opinion, it just wasn't a very well-made episode. I appreciate what they were doing real life with the episode and
Mhm.
what they were trying to like champion there. I think that's great, but I wish they had just given that better material because I didn't think that episode was very good at all. So that's why,
I mean,
obviously I wasn't the only one because I mean, it's at 93. It just didn't do it for me. And I for me, that's why I'm in response to the meaningfulness coming into play. It comes
Jacob,
into
you're talking
play for me,
to
but not as much, I don't think.
you're talking to a guy that has his favorite film of all time is Schindler's List when everybody else has, Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back as their favorite film, or
Now, Schindler's List is definitely up there.
well,
Schindler's
no,
List
I'm
is an
saying like
amazing film.
Are you
my
saying your
level,
favorite film is Schindler's List?
yeah, like where I look at
Oh.
films and movies and
Oh,
stuff like
because of its
that is way different.
meaningfulness.
Right.
Yeah, like where
Mhm.
compared to like, where other people would put like their favorite film of all time would be like, Pulp Fiction or something like that. It's just
Mhm.
it's like the where I look at films and TV is way different than a lot of people in a lot of
Well, no,
respects. And
that's the
Mhm.
difference. Schindler's List is a good movie. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic movie, and it has a meaningful. The meaningfulness,
Works.
it adds to how great the movie is. If it's a great,
Mhm.
it's got to be a great. It's got to be entertaining and a great film first, or show or whatever. The entertainment medium needs to be entertaining, and then everything else can add to it. But if you're not entertaining and you have all that other stuff, yeah, that's great, but you're not entertaining. So that's a big hit right there
Yeah.
in my book, at least. I mean,
Well, to some extent too, and I know this isn't quite the same thing, but I think it is relevant to this. For ages we looked at Nightmare as a Child and we really didn't, we left it where it
didn't
was
wanna touch it.
because right, we didn't want to touch it because of the subject matter and because it was such a die-hard episode and it's something so unique to the Twilight Zone, so unique to that time. But you do have to take into account that there are things that are better than that. You can pedestal this for what it represents.
We had that conversation
Yeah, no, 100%.
about
That's
how,
why I
hey,
bring it up.
I don't think we've been touching this because we kind of don't want to. Whenever we got in that area and we were ranking something, it was like, well, I don't want to put it above that because then we'd be saying child
Well, I
abuse is
never-
good, or
I-
not. That's not.
Mhm.
as
I
good
never
as
looked at it
shining a
that
light on
way, to
child
be
abuse.
I didn't.
Well, I never
didn't
looked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
think
didn't look at
maybe we.
episodes that
Well,
way
I
either.
know I kind of did, so I apologize.
Well,
but-
no, when I
No,
when,
don't apologize.
well, no, when I come to the
Never
list, like
apologize.
the reason that Nightmares of Child never went below or above, like depending on the ranking, because we never found episodes that were like, if there had been an episode that we eventually found like Miniature or Shadow Play or Death Ship or Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up, eventually we found a way to like knock it down. I'm just saying, like, I
Mhm.
don't ever like, it doesn't matter
We
that we could talk
pinataed its
about
ass.
we could talk about that episode with the guys, like what are you talking about, Willis, the one with the bike shop attendant. It's a very famous episode about, anyways, my point being, like, I don't really care like what the episode's about. It happened to be that episode was just ranking above most of the episodes we talked about. That's why it never
I-
moved. So I never thought about that way. Yeah.
I think I could be, this could be revisionist history, but I remember, and it's odd, given all of us are here, 5 characters in search of an exit. I remember, I could be wrong, wanting to put that above Nightmare as a Child, and like, and I mean, everybody likes episodes different ways, but that was one of the things, is like, oh, it was a really good episode, and that's a
Yeah. I
very
don't know why
meaningful
we
episode
didn't.
and all that, and that I
I
think it was
just-
around that time that the conversation came up as, hey,
Yeah.
are we kind of like maneuvering around that particular episode? And I mean, I'm not saying all of us were. I know there was times
I
that
know
would come
I
up,
was.
I would be kind of like, we've got like this lighthearted episode, and we're going to put it above the super meaningful episode. What is that saying? And that would come into my mind. I try to push it out, but anyway, I don't really know what that has to do with today's episode.
Honestly, I think we all honestly.
Meaningful episodes.
And the thing is, we
Mhm.
had
Oh,
this
I remember.
15-minute conversation. Go ahead, sorry.
I remember what it has to do with. It's the Perchance to Dream needs to be lower on the list. That's what.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Gotcha.
Oh my god.
I mean, here's the thing. So we all kind of said that, back to this, we had I think a solid conversation about the nature of the list. But in the grand scheme, I think that this still goes right around I Dream of Jeannie. I would drop this below Jeannie just because it kind of is more boring than I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, I said 112.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
I think
with
it's
you.
better than The Gift. I mean, that's me, but I remember The Gift being just
Mhm.
like.
I mean,
The
I
Gift
would
was only
put
a 24-minute
this-
episode, I think.
Yeah.
where
Right,
would you
and
put this, Nick?
Slog.
Like right below 16mm Shrine, right above Four of Us Are Dying, but I'm
That's
like
around
really
where I
not.
was
I'm not.
thinking too.
I'm not a fan of Four of Us Are Dying at all. Like I
See,
really hate that up.
Mhm.
I know that I'm
That's just
looking
me.
at this
Had
from a
visual
production
flair.
side, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I appreciate the way that they did the effects on that. And I know that's not the end all be all.
Well, I
But
mean,
given that-
Triv,
Mhm.
aren't you biased for having it as your intro though? Come on now.
Well, that
Come on,
too.
Triv.
I kind of
No, I'm
enjoyed
kidding.
what they did. Like, and the story wasn't great, but for the visual flair of what they were
I
able to
mean,
do at that time.
It was
The guy
shot
looks in the mirror, sees
interesting.
your 2D figures. So I mean,
Well,
how can you not love it?
oh, piss off.
It did have a lot of interesting shots, and like the way that they presented the street he was walking on.
A lot
Like,
of
it was just
Dutch
Dutch
angles.
angles.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it had the Dutch angles, but like when he was walking down the street, it wasn't even a street. It was almost like it came across as kind of like a play. How it was like a dark area he was walking through, and you just had like neon signs up there. I thought that was really creative, and like the whole thing where he changed his face, like in your opening, and I thought it had a lot of creativeness going on in the way it was filmed. But like Trish said, the story was just,
Yeah.
I think, closer to the end. I don't even remember specifically what it was about the story. It was just not great.
It lacked that je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, absolutely. It had no jeunesse or quoi.
Hell of a
Definitely
thing
no
to
say.
lack.
But I mean, I'm not gonna like split hairs here. If you guys want to put it 112, that's fine because it's still near the bottom. So I mean, it's
True.
like
I know I do.
Yeah.
What is Triv? Where did you want to?
I'm with you. I think 112. I think this is worse than I Dream of Jeannie, but I wouldn't say it's worse than The Gift.
Do we ever think that something would be worse than I Dream of Genie or Jezebel?
Yes. Considering
sure
how
it was
late
like-
these suckers
Disney Balls
came
is
into...
all the way up to 100.
Yeah, it's at 100. Yeah,
Yeah, it's 16 better than. It's the 16th
17. It's 17.
best from the bottom. 17,
Yeah.
yeah, 17th best from the bottom. What about you, Alex? Where do you?
I was similar to Nick, where I saw it like just a little higher than 112, like kind of around where like in between like where's everybody and the four of us are dying.
That's really surprising the way that like from Nick, especially because Nick usually wants to
Remember,
go lower.
well, but like this
Yeah.
episode didn't like upset me as much as it did you guys. Like,
Yeah.
It didn't
It
upset
still
me. It
upsetted
didn't
me.
evoke anything from me. It was just boring. That was the problem. It didn't upset.
that's an
or-
emotion. Boringness
do
is an
shit.
emotion.
It
I was just
evoked
pissed off
anger.
by
Look
his
how
character.
you're so angry, Jacob.
so- I know.
Arrgh.
I'm so angry about this.
You've been yelling this whole episode. Like,
Ah.
chill,
I
man.
I mean,
What about the audio
Calm
editing
down,
on
guys.
this? It's gonna be
Ah.
terrible.
I don't know. Well, two of us think below 60 millimeter shrine. Two of us
Well,
think
what if we
below.
split the difference?
I know.
Well, okay, so split the difference. If we go roughly 2 or 3 down from 16 millimeter shrine and 2 or 3 up from I Dream of Jeannie, that puts it like right above the fever or right
Would
above
that be,
Still
like-
Valley.
Would that be above Still Valley or below?
I think it would be, well, Still Valley is right in the middle. If you go 5, because 16 millimeter to I Dream of Jeannie, there's 5.
I mean, I'll be honest
Mm.
with you. I'd rather watch this than on Still Valley or The Fever. That's
yeah.
just
Yeah, go ahead and pop
I
it there. That's
agree.
fine.
Jacob. You have any thoughts?
We're splitting hairs here. It's
True.
we're talking about what should I put it at 107 or 112?
I would say right. Okay, I'm
The
taking
fucking
the
bottom.
I am gonna make the robot eyes blink here and say that it goes right below the 4 of us are dying.
All right. Well, I've already written
Hey.
it there, so it's going there.
Yay.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm cool with
No,
that
I'm
because I
kidding.
actually I
I'm
do.
kidding.
There's
Are
as
you?
much as we shit all over the four of us are dying for the longest time. There's always been. I would watch it again. I don't think it's a good
Mhm.
episode, and it deserves to be where it's at. But over like some of the episodes that are even above it, I'd watch that before 16 millimeter Shrine or
Mhm.
Mr. Dingle is Strong. I'd watch with a crowd, but by myself, I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
With the
whereas
crowd.
So you would watch.
That's definitely
You'd
a
watch
cult
if it's. I'll say you watch it with the 60 millimeter Shriners.
Yeah, Judgment Night.
Well, the Shrine had
that's
a good,
terrible
like,
episode.
it has a good premise to it.
Yeah.
Like, it gives off, like, a Sunset Boulevard vibe. But I think it's just,
Yeah.
like, as we said about the other episodes, it's just, like, the execution of it is just, like, off.
Yeah.
I just like the
Yeah.
experimentalness of the four of us are dying. It seemed like they had somebody like they got like a new DP and he came in. He's like, okay, it's my first day. I'm throwing everything on here, and he just tried all kinds of like really interesting. He at least
The
made
Shrine was also a nostalgia episode,
the
too.
shit
actually. That's funny.
Yeah.
it was an interesting view. I'll say that.
Very.
Exactly. Okay, so we'll put it there. I think that's enough. Whatever we're doing. I don't know what we're doing anymore. I lost my train of thought. Right.
I did not think
Uh,
we'd talk that long about this.
There's a lot of things we don't. No, I'm just.
It's true.
Anyways,
Bat pussy.
exactly. So with that said,
Because anal.
Yeah, that too.
exactly. So with that said, new number 109 is The Incredible World of Horace Ford. Yeah, sounds about right. Number 1 is still The Trouble with Templeton, or Trouble. Number 1 is still,
No.
number 1. Well, I mean, I didn't finish yet. I didn't finish. It was
That's
one,
what she said.
Number 1 is Eye of the Beholder. Number 117 is Trouble with Templeton.
Number
Next
95
episode-
is a piano in.
The house.
God.
It's a good thing that the audio feed doesn't understand what the hell's happening. It just knows we're laughing about something. Anyways,
Cigarette after that one.
yeah.
Can you believe I was a pack-a-day smoker like 5 years ago?
Yeah, I can actually see that.
Those lungs are what? That's a really good long out breathe.
I
out. Brett,
I
Hashtag Throwback
you were doing.
Thursday.
Yeah. There you go.
He's reminiscing 5
Oh,
years
wait, it's been
ago.
more than 5 years now. Wait, what year is it? It's
2024.
I quit in. Oh yeah, I guess this was 2019. So yeah, 5 years ago.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
All right. So next episode is season 4, episode 16. On Thursday, we leave for home. Directed by Buzz Kulik, written by Rod Serling. Stars James Whitmore, of course, of the Shawshank Redemption fame. Tim O'Connor, James Broderick, Paul Langton, Joe Helton, and Mercedes Shirley.
Don't call me
we'll look
Shirley.
Exactly. Don't call me Shirley. So we'll look forward to that. Alex,
Supposed to be a good
once
one.
again, I don't know. We'll find out.
Possibly.
We thought this
Ooh,
was going to be a good
sci-fi.
one. So exactly.
You thought it was a good one?
I said, is it supposed to be a good one?
Oh, for next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought maybe this
I've heard it's one of the good ones for season 4.
Well,
Is it?
good. It's sci-fi, so I like the sci-fi
Mhm.
episodes.
So it'll be number 38.
If you like some of
Anyways.
the other like sci-fi, like on another planet kind of vibe,
Yeah,
I think that you can like this episode.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that then.
Woohoo.
Don't say your
Can't be
expectations
any
too
worse
high in
than
case you don't
the-
like it though.
Can't be any worse than the Incredible World of Horace Ford. So
I know.
Don't
we have
say
to look
that.
forward
It could be.
Can be, but I don't think it will be.
Yeah.
No,
good
probably
feeling.
not.
I get a feeling, fellas.
I got a feeling.
Okay. Anyways, with that said, Alex, once again, awesome. Thank you for coming on again. I'm sure we'll have you on many more times. We may have you on for the whole entire season 5. For all we know at this point. So you better
Who
keep your
knows?
schedule open. No working. You have to be ready, flexible for whatever schedule we give you, because you're now part of us, one of us.
Google gobble.
But exactly.
Google.
But I'll start with you.
Accept her.
Exactly. But I'll start with you. Where's your content? How's it content? What's that type of content? Do you still have content?
I still have content. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, Alex Carson, that I hope to launch at some point. And I've been saying that since I came on for miniature and onward. So, we'll see if I show up again anytime soon. The future will tell.
Yeah, you're definitely
but
coming
yeah.
on for the Bard, so
Yeah.
you better come on the Bard, because we need someone to talk positively about that episode. Otherwise, 125.
Okay, it's
Is
not
it that bad? Where's the Bard?
No.
How far away is
It's
that?
not.
It's
It
a lot.
really.
It's
I
season
don't think
finale.
it's that low.
No, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I don't remember it very well, so I have no thoughts. But if you don't come on,
What's new?
125. What's new? What's new? Anyways, going counterclockwise from my screen, Jacob, content. We're at things, places.
I do. I have a YouTube channel. Retro JKXY on the tubes of you. I talk about old video game stuff. I get all nostalgic, kind of like Horace, about old things from my childhood. So come check that out. I just released a video not too long ago. You might like it if you like old shit. I'll be releasing another video probably next week of me talking about old shit.
He's a nostalgia critic, but for video games. Oh wait, no, that's angry video
But he's
game nerd.
he's
Oh
a
wait,
nostalgia critic.
oh wait, he's
except-
not that.
Yeah, he's a nostalgia critic, but we respect him. So
Well, it's
Yeah,
more
I'm-
like angry video game nerd, except he's not as angry.
No, that's
Yeah.
he's not as nerdy.
James Rolfe's
Yeah.
thing.
And
Next week I will.
Yeah.
I will be having a video talking about part of my collection, like I did a little while back, and it will essentially be me, as someone in my comments put it, babbling about stuff that I don't know anything about. So look
That's
forward
all
to
of
that.
us.
You mean the rose tinted glasses don't help? They don't agree with you at that point?
No, he said, because these videos are essentially, they are called my whatever collection. Like that, I think that was my Xbox collection. I'm about to do my Sega CD collection. It is literally, it says it in the title and in the beginning. I say, hey, this is me just talking about what I own. I'm going to give some thoughts and experiences about this particular thing, just kind of unscripted. I say that in the beginning, and he said, you should do your research on these things before you just go babbling on about things you don't know. It's like,
I mean, you should read the narrations in advance so you don't mess
I said,
them up.
absolutely.
But,
Damn.
who am I to judge?
I said it's kind of in the name, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I should read the narrations in advance.
Gosh, Jacob, you should be more retro.
That's right. It should be more XY.
Yeah.
I-
With that said, Triv, I know you have content. You just put out the Country Boys from Kalamazoo or whatever it's called. No, you just put out a video for the Country Boys from Hell. Is that
the
right?
boys from County
County
Hell.
Hell, thank you.
Country.
Yeah, I just dropped a video for the first time in a bit. Irish horror comedy movie called The Boys from County Hell. a fun little vampiric movie. Definitely stop by, check that out. I should be back on board with a little bit more frequent content. I hit up a film fest and I got a couple movies there to talk about. Plus, there's a few other things on the horizon. A little bit more short form, but still should be some decent stuff. So stop by, say hi.
Oh, wait.
Excellent.
I want to add.
Oh god, you
She
got more
reminded
stuff.
me- I do. I'm sorry. I'm going to a video game convention this weekend, and I'm going to film it. And depending on what I film, because I see people do that, I'm trying to hop on a bandwagon, I guess. Depending on how that turns out, I may have a video about it.
Wow.
So that was possibly a totally pointless break in there.
That's okay.
You know,
I
have
mean,
you ever thought about making video game content? Because like it's almost like you really
considered
enjoy
it.
video
I
games.
thought about it, maybe one day.
You know?
X
Maybe
to
your
doubt,
channel
man.
name could be like, because you like retro shit, right? So nostalgic. Consider it.
Maybe, yeah. I
You call your-
I mean, I don't know. Sounds a little
You
played
call
out.
your you call your episode like your channel past Jake XY or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna
Nostalgia,
man.
nostalgia, Jake.
Nostalgia Jake. Anyways, my content. I posted the Twilight Zone videos, the ones we do here. That's pretty much all it's been for the last couple of weeks. I am going to do a review that should be up by the time this post of the Star Wars Tales of the Empire series is coming on May 4th. That should be
Nice.
up by the time this ups. And then Dark Matter, I think, is a TV series that I'm going to review. And then I don't know, the Fall Guy comes out this weekend. I might review that.
Dark Matter.
It's
The
a
show
Apple
from
TV.
like 10 years ago?
No, it's a TV series
Oh.
on Apple TV.
But yeah, there was a TV series about 10 years ago. It was actually pretty cool called Dark Matter. Anyway, go ahead.
It actually could be it could actually be a remake of it. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff when it comes to dark water, dark matter,
Darkwing Duck.
dark crystal, Darkwing Duck, gargoyles, dark descent. I don't know. That's
Black and
Batman.
chicken.
Yeah. As we prolong the episode, even though Alex is like, I want to get the fuck off here.
That's not true.
No, I know, I'm kidding. And I know Trivon is really tired too. So, anyways,
How can you tell?
I don't know.
It's
You
in your
talk
eyes.
about-
You look
Yeah.
just, you got baggage.
No, in Twitter, she's been talking. All she's been doing is Z.
I have not. I can screenshot shit right now and post it.
I'm kidding. I'm actually tired. I think I'm the one that's actually tired. But
Hi,
anyways,
tired. Nice to meet you.
without further ado, we're
That's what she
leaving.
said.
Jesus Christ. Without further ado, we're leaving.
That's what he said.
Without
too.
further without further ado, we're
A
leaving Horace
piano
forward.
in.
The house.
Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to like
Yeah.
and subscribe.
Yeah, like, subscribe. We're leaving Horace forward for now. So for myself, Alex, Triv, and Jacob, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
Bye.
Here's one nobody ever remembers. You guys might. It was called, I'm pretty sure it was called The Misfits. And
Yeah,
it was
I know that one.
yeah, and they had like superpowers, I think. Like one of
Yeah.
them was fast. It was kind of like a knockoff X-Men.
It's like GoBots for.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on, man?
Kind of like that. It was a knockoff, like New Mutants X-Men kind of thing. But it was I remember it being really cool, but nobody ever knows what the hell I'm talking about.
I think he's rather tasty.